Hello and welcome. You find yourselves sometime past midnight, you think. You are on your way out of the Lonesome Tankard, but before you go, you have a couple careful moments. Rain, as an optional reaction, you can keep an eye on someone. Do you choose to?
Yeah, it's Tilda.
You keep an eye on Tilda Lochlaren. Kaysen, you see Ed Severino's bone knife sticking out of the table. Do you take
Ah,
do you take it?
gonna have to give it back to him. I will take it and carefully wrap it up in a little piece of cloth and put it in my pack.
You do so. Sporgle, you are rummaging in your last few moments here, and you see a well-maintained trail pack with a name embroidered on the back. It says Andre. You feel like you could probably take this without anybody noticing. Do you?
Oh, yes.
You do so. Do you heft it over your shoulder?
Because Spork already has a sack. Can I do like sack within a sack with this thing? Just throw my sack in there?
You absolutely can. Yes, you can. Your sack, which is like a simple leather sack, slides into the main compartment of this sturdy trail sack. You do so.
I wonder why he was out and about without his bag.
You find yourselves outside. You are on the map. You are leaving the Lonesome Tankard, which has a fresh hole in the northwestern roof. Looking south toward the main bridge, you can see the glowing aura of torches, whose wielders are clear now, mounted cavalry wearing green plate mail. A pair of them, riding parallel to the river on the other side of you, is sizing things up. Scouts. Their keen eyes observe you and keep riding south. These are individuals, people who have seen you now. And on the bridge that they're riding close to, you can see bodies and parts that your mind cannot easily untangle. A brown feathered wing broken in half, a limb strangely bent, still clutching a sword, the wrist cocked back at an odd angle, and in the field there is condensation on the sunmelons. Their mottled green and yellow skin reflects the moonlight above. Laird clings to you, Julienne, clearly exhausted, and looking between you and the bodies on the bridge, he says, "The ends surely justify, don't they?" The actions with the party.
We can justify ends and means later. You should find your daughter. She's supposedly to the north. The two of you can support him, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Then let's get moving.
Ed would have taken her to our home, as you said, to the north. Please, help me.
Oh, where's Laird going? He's not moving. Trying to move in tandem.
You have control of Laird's token.
Oh.
I'll
like a
lockstep
way to-
with you. Okay, so
Yeah. Is there like a way to link?
just
token?
highlight click, like drag. Like
No.
so.
Oh, aha.
All the players have access to Laird's token while he is magically incapacitated.
Yeah, we're gonna need to have a chat about that.
As we approach this felled tree, how difficult will it be to get Laird around this thing?
Not hard. You could go around exactly whoever is green, whoever pinged the left side there. No way St. Cyr, I believe, is showing you the way, which makes sense given her familiarity with this town. There's a little tree you can edge by there, isn't there?
Should we be keeping more to the tree line? Do we see anything overhead?
Make a perception check. Sporgle, you scramble over the tree, no problem. Looking inside, you can see Kareen and Mikhail at the bar through the new aperture here into the northwest corner of his poor building.
9.
You roll a 9 on perception. Looking to the sky, Kaysen, you see something moving up there, but your eyes are having trouble tracking it in the darkness.
As we go around the tree, I'm sure I rough myself up in the woods.
You've had a long journey in the woods tonight, haven't you, Tilda? You've pushed through the brush quite a bit. I feel as if it's hard to avoid scratching up your forearms and things like that.
As Rain makes his way down the road, he unfurls the rest of his coat and produces a living thing. Somewhat uncomfortable given circumstance that there's a griffin in the skies. He has some trust that it wouldn't be eaten, but another pair of eyes in the sky would be good.
How long has that been in there?
Yeah, probably about a year. So it's a friend. He produces
That-
what is, in effect, a fruit bat. It's got like a fox-like face, an ashen coat fur.
Is that a familiar raid? I didn't know you could do that.
If only it were familiar. No, it's just a pet. He's friendly. You can pet him later. He'll outstretch his arm to let it go free. He always finds his way back.
I'll make a habit of, if I have a spare hand, trying to grab any little berries I pass by.
Your bat, aloft on tiny wings, flits off into the sky. You have a feeling it will be able to find you again. And certainly it's stealthier than you are.
I would hope so.
Laird, you cast clairvoyance, right? You saw where they were?
He he coughs into his shoulder. You can see that there's blood running from his nose. I did, young paladin. I did see where they are. They're outside my home. Simply here, just down the road. His left arm twitches against you.
And we'll find them. I'm sure everything will work out when we get there.
Fingers crossed. It has been a while. Across the bridge, right?
That's what he was saying.
Jason, stop walking me through the brush.
I'll scoot over here. Try to stick to the trees. Sorry.
We're doing this together. Just remember I'm here.
Hey, I'm moving 2 tokens.
Tilda, in the darkness, you recognize these interchanges. This road leads to the back way to your house. To your east, down the long, dark road to the south of the Starwater, is the road that leads to the St. Cyr Manor up on the hill.
Going to point a finger to the west and cast message.
You do so.
I have never cast this spell before successfully. So I will think into the void. Words to my mother. Elven cavalry, south. We head for cave. We have Laird. No way's gone. I'm hoping that this is like a transcendent moment for me, where the weave like pours into me, and I hear like all the stories of old, flush me with the power of Mistral or whoever holds the crown right now. But I'm afraid I'm just casting a cantrip.
You, Tildelock Aran. This is a big moment for you, isn't it? And as such, your mind seems to align and focus around the idea that you absolutely must get word to your mother. You know exactly where your home is relative to here, almost how many paces away it is. And as such, you feel that your mind is somehow able to penetrate and go past and surpass what is normally possible with but a lowly cantrip. And you know how the message spell works. You send this desperate message out to your mother, and you know that she can reply. After a long moment, you hear something distant and faint at the very edges of your consciousness. You hear your mother reply. She says, "Okay, be safe. Keep me updated. I'll send Ran to you."
It worked. It worked. Rand's gonna meet up with us, guys. They're expecting us at the cave.
Take your word for it.
I'm going to stand up a little bit straighter, shoot a quick, excited glare at Kaysen and say, "Come on, let's go."
Alright, not too fast though.
Rain, if you would have a moment.
I have many. As Rain has been walking down the road, he's trying to keep this level of composure, but it is surely but slowly breaking. Anxiety does exude from him.
Don't you think it seems odd, given elven culture, that you would outright attack this town?
I don't think you have a very good common sense of what elven culture can breed.
I have very good sense of elven culture. And I also know most of this town hates elves. So who attacked first? Was there even a parlay?
Well, neither you nor I were alive for it. We already bickered words with Erilyn.
You weren't alive for earlier in the day?
I think you misunderstand the gravity of this attack. This isn't something over some melons covered in blood.
Yes, but why would elves raise an area covered in forestry, produce, resources, just outright? They don't do that.
I told you. I said as much. Something is here, strong and powerful. And if they get it, if I don't get it, things are going to burn. And towns go up fast when they're made of wood.
Laird looks up at you, Julianne, and nods assent. She's right. They're here looking for something. They're not here to obliterate the town.
Can we just give it to them?
You audibly hear distress as Rain exhales. I don't think whatever this thing that they're looking for would be in the best hands there, nor do I think of me explaining exactly what I think they're looking for in the open is a good idea. We get to the house of Mr. St. Cyr, and I might be able to explain to you just how important this thing is. Just
I
why I
agree.
need 1,000 pounds of fertilizer tonight.
I agree. We don't know what eyes and ears are hiding out here.
Well, there's only 2 above us. 4 if you count the rider. So we need to move.
If they can have a griffin, they could certainly have someone that could be hiding.
And we're also traveling on the road. If they're watching, they know where we're going. They can see us, regardless if we're by the tree line or not.
Hmm.
We can't afford the time to go take cover somewhere.
If
and
they wanted us
travel
dead, we would
forward.
be dead.
True.
Especially you kids who never even seen combat.
And you have.
Yes. And you have too.
I'm lost. Admittedly, by all means, the words are filling my head. Are we turning west? Tilda, are we moving across the bridge? It's been so fucking long.
To glance at Laird.
Laird,
The cave is on. Go ahead.
Laird makes eye contact with you, understanding your sense of direction may be slightly swimming due to everything happening around you. He gestures east with his jawline.
We have to take a right.
Where it is, then?
Does Laird look like he's improving, getting worse, staying the same?
Stable. He has a look of prideful stoicism, Kaysen.
Does
What
anyone
the-
see a little gray cat?
Oh.
Nope.
You're one on your perception roll. You think you saw something. What? You're not sure.
Maybe that's supposed to add +1 to mine.
How well can some of you handle the dark?
Certainly better than you.
Dirty
I have a
20.
light.
Kaysen, with your dirty 20, I'm so sorry to interrupt. With your dirty 20, you do sense movement to your east, somewhere close to the canopy of the trees. Looks like a bird studying you, perhaps, not a cat. And I apologize. Sarah, go ahead.
Just to help with the traversal, just a little bit, she's going to take a vial out of her bag, pop the cork out, swish it around, and a small little light wisp will appear. It's the light cantrip.
You summon a bit of light that follows your hands, or what do you focus this on? On the vial itself?
Yes, it'll stick around the vial,
That's so cool.
kind of like a glow stick of sorts.
Did you make that?
I did.
Amazing.
It's dark here, with no torches to light the way. If you lack dark vision, this road is completely black. There is nothing to light your way other than the light surrounding Julienne's alchemy vial, which glows with a golden light in the darkness.
Speaking of magic, Laird, your daughter is pretty amazing. We were both. I don't want to stress you out more. She's fine now, at least I think. But we were both deafened by Erlen's griffin.
You think
And
you think that she's fine? Is that what you said? Please take me
I
to her.
know.
She is amazing. She's the light of my life. I need to see her face. Please don't say you think she's okay.
I know she's okay because she inspired me to cast Lay on Hands for the first time in 15 years. I had lost my faith. I didn't think Lathander would ever answer again. He's been so quiet. But after I saw her go down and that she still had so much fighting spirit left, I couldn't stand by and do nothing. And it was like I just felt myself reawaken. And it worked. And it's all thanks to her that she
Yes.
is at least mostly healed.
Yes, Laird, we also know your daughter is very scrappy. She is absolutely fine. Now, please watch where your feet are. This trail is. How do we not have the budget to at least just fix them somewhat?
Juliet, stop being so dramatic.
How am I being dramatic? I trip down these roads all the time.
Oh
In
my-
daylight.
Oh my god, we're being chased by griffins. Keep your voice down.
So many sun melons.
You find yourself somewhere new.
Blowing the map briefly.
As we crest the tree line, how tall up does this manor sit? How many floors?
This mansion has stood here for 120 years, Rain. It is 2 stories. The brick exterior has a gradient of green moss that is a deeper green on the side that faces the river. The walls are 10 feet tall, and the windows on the south side of the mansion not only look over the fields, but look down on the town itself. And the wind is howling now, carrying from the east. No drums, distant voices, people shouting out orders in a foreign language. Well, foreign to 4 of you. You hear the sound of hooves cantering.
Do we hear sounds mostly from the roads, from the river?
From across the river to the east. It's in chopped Elven. You can't quite understand it, Kaysen, but you recognize the intonation. It's your language.
I'm hick, I have a weird dialect anyways.
Much is promising. Not all of them have griffins.
Did your
Horses can't really
familiar
fall out of the
friend
sky.
tell you that?
Isn't it?
I can hear the hoofbeats.
I did not hear Tilda or Kaysen.
I said not all of them have griffins. Fortune is overflowing today, isn't it?
I asked, did your bat familiar friend tell you that?
Again, I can't really speak to him, Tilda. He is just a bat. Cute. His name's Licorice.
Oh,
But no, just a bat.
That name is so adorable.
I feel for bad.
Mm.
Licorice.
Sporgle, you find yourself out in front. It seems that people behind you are having yet another conversation about themselves. You are the only person who seems to notice this. Roll perception at advantage. DC 10.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You hear the sounds of combat. Close. It sounded like someone just cocked a bolt in a crossbow.
Do I know which direction?
Somewhere to the northeast. It sounded like it echoed off the walls. You just heard the unique, distinctive, you'd know it anywhere sound of a bolt getting pulled back into a crossbow.
Like, that would be within 100 feet of me, wouldn't it?
Definitely within 100 feet. Your goblin ears serve you well.
Sporgle stops, like rigid frozen, and looks around, see if he can discern where the sound came from.
The wind howls over your ears.
Laird, are your guards posted tonight?
Oh, if by guards you mean my son and my daughter, my son is with Ed's son. My daughter, I hope she's right there waiting for me.
I think caught up in the mundanities of speaking about bats and guards, Rain would probably bump into the back of this frozen goblin.
You do so.
Apologies. I can't believe I'm saying this. Everything fine.
Is that at me?
That was directly to you, Sportle, yes. He's towering over your shoulder at this point. He bumped into his back with his knee.
Sorry, I was distracted for a second. As Sporgle's looking around, you can tell something's got him kind of shaken. He says, "Shh."
Rain will echo that back to the ones behind us. He'll hunch down a little bit.
Sporgle says, "Oh, Archer."
Archer. Son? He'll look back to Laird and Julianne being propped abroad.
Laird
Should
shakes his head.
not an archer. Bad. Sporgle, this might be a bit of an imposition on you. If we were to say, stay here, this is Rain, in as much of a hushed tone as he can make. If we were to stay here behind the tree line, do you think you could scout it out? I don't think this one's friendly.
Oh.
A bit of a grimace washes over Rain's face as he pats you on the shoulder. Go get him, buddy.
Sporgle darts for the trees to the north.
Noted.
And Rain will try to round the rest of us, hunch down as much as possible behind this tree line before the man.
You do so.
Is there anyone coming behind us? Weren't we expecting a Ran at some point?
You look behind you. You see the darkness of the unilluminated road. You see the moon reflecting off of little bits of chop in the Elenair River there, Kaysen.
So, where Sporgle is, am I in trees or bushes right now?
That is a low tree. A leggy maple, perhaps 15 feet tall. The smaller branches are thin.
Would I be able to see through here from like one side to the other relatively easily, or is it more dense than that?
The trees are, in the spot that you're at right now, the trees are sparse enough that you can get a good look at the top of the walls. You see no one perched up on the walls. As you train your vision across things, you see the fountain burbling a little bit, and then there's movement somewhere in there, but it's hard to detect what it is. You do hear something, though, Sporgle. You hear someone yelling from the courtyard, "Hey, get back! I won't say it again!" You don't know that voice.
Sporgle looks across the road to the other people.
Do we hear that voice?
If you are not on this side of the tree line, if you are Rain, you can hear it. If you are Julianne, I think you can hear it a little bit. If you are Kaysen Laird Tilda, not really. You heard something shouting, perhaps.
Rain will gesticulate questioningly towards Sporgle.
Sporgle decides to move closer. He's going to weave his way through the trees one step at a time.
You are careful versus quick. Careful, it sounds like.
Careful for sure, yes.
Careful. Everybody, including Noe, roll initiative.
Matilda with a 15. Before we get into the... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Sporgle with a 21.
6.
Noah with an 18.
Natural 1 for 3.
I have. I'm waiting on a Julianne. Go ahead.
5.
Julianne with a 5. Okay. At the top of the order, Sporgle with a 21. You hear something. As you approach, you are staying low to the ground. You are trying to make sure that if something is there, that you get the drop on it. Suddenly you hear the sounds of a scuffle, people shoving and scuffling, and then you hear a desperate and ugly scream. Someone calling out in pain. It's your turn.
What would you say is the tallest tree around me?
I would say there is, in this copse of trees, there is a 40-foot tall ash tree that dominates the tree line here, having outgrown its less voracious friends. It has firm branches that look out, and you could get a decent vantage point on the courtyard should you try to set up here.
That's my aim, yes. Sporgle has a climb speed of 25 feet, so I would get about 20 feet up that. That's twice the height of the walls, correct?
That is correct. Yes, you spend your turn wriggling up this tree, your short bow on your back. As you look over at the end of the economy of your turn here, you see something. Some type of massive creature there in the darkness. You've never seen anything like this. Whatever it is, it's huge. It has a huge rump. It looks almost like a bear, and it looks like it's ripping and eating something.
I assume I can still call out to the others at least, right?
Absolutely.
Sporgle will yell, "Monster!"
The rest of the party hears Sporgle's one-word warning echo across the open plain. Noe with an 18. Noe, you swim in unconsciousness. In the muddy daydream of your concussed mind, you imagine that you are at Tilda's birthday party and you and Sporgle have gotten her the same gift. Tilda is unwrapping Sporgle's present right now, and your present suddenly feels very heavy in your hands. Everyone is looking at you. Terror gnaws at your mind. On the prime, your slack mouth is drooling onto the wet and cold grass. Tilda with a 15.
Before we get into any nonsense, do we have everything in our starting kit? Do we have our weapons in our starting kit?
You do.
Yeah. Do I hear Sporgle call out, "Monster"?
You do.
I'm going to look at Laird and look back at the trees and crouch down and draw out my father's saber.
You do so.
I'm going to hold it up to my chest and I'm going to whisper something into it.
Go ahead. You, please.
I'm going to say, Father, if you're out there, help me figure out how to use this thing. And I will slip out of Laird's arm and start moving through the brush.
I will shoulder all of his weight.
You do so.
I'm going to try and go slowly and quietly. I assume this will be a stealth roll.
No.
Okay. I'll try and go slowly and quietly through the brush, crouch down. I believe my movement will be somewhat impeded by this alien metallic object in my hand that's meant for people who are not me.
It does feel strange wielding a sword. Especially, you always thought that your older brother would be the one attempting to commune with your father in order to summon his martial power during a time like this. It feels like in many ways you are a bit of an imposter right now. And these feelings as they swim through you have a way of not just impeding your movement, but your action in general. There's a lot going on, and you feel a bit in over your head, don't you? It remains your turn.
Very much. I will belly down to this embankment. I'm at the bottom of this culvert. That's how I interpret this.
That is correct.
And I will slowly try and scramble up it.
You do so. No roll required. You use the bulk of your movement to scramble to the top. It's not that steep. You've seen this many times. This is the front of your friend Noe's home. The gates seem open.
Peer my head up and take a moment to periscope.
You see nothing, but you hear something. You hear a desperate, ugly scream.
Do I recognize that scream as No Way?
It's not Noe. It's masculine.
It's masculine. I'll kind of breathe out my held breath and end my turn.
You do so. Laird with a 7. Laird clutches against you, Kaysen. He takes in a deep breath. His arm twitches uncomfortably. Take me. Come on. Let's go. Don't wait for them.
Which way? Do we go up north around this bank or to the right?
That's right. Take me up. Take me with you. His eyes are
How
closed.
fast can I move with him on me?
Half speed. You could potentially, using the road or the left side of that embankment, you could get to the top there around where Tilda is.
Like around there?
Exactly.
I'm looking very relieved that he didn't try to cast anything, but I won't call him out on it.
It remains your turn, Kaysen.
Oh, okay. We have like a linked turn.
Oh, yes, Laird has a 7. You have a 6. His turn ends. He is incapacitated. You are carrying him. His turn flows into yours.
Okay. So did that movement count for my turn?
It counted for the movement of your turn. However, you still have an action, a bonus action, and plenty of action economy to do with what you will. And you see the goblin that you rode in on the raft with, up in the trees, spying something in the courtyard. You hear Laird breathing heavily. You see Tilda pause at the top of the embankment.
I'm not sure what I could physically do on this turn, but I'm just going to turn all of my attention to the courtyard and try to, with sight and sound, best make out what's going on over there.
You hear a ripping sound, like someone tearing apart a grapefruit with their bare hands.
don't really have anything in my inventory other than a weapon, and I don't have spells. I think that'll be my turn unless I can move more.
You could choose to set Laird down in order to move a bit more.
I don't want to leave him all in my turn there.
You do so. Julienne with a 5.
Once I see Kaysen move Laird up to give him a sight line, I'm gonna quickly scramble up beside him. You better not cast anything.
Oh, if he does, I will put myself in a position to stop him. Don't care what happens to me.
You self-sacrificial idiots need to knock this off.
I'd sacrifice anything for my daughter. If Arsinoe is there, I want to see her.
And you'll see her. But if you kill yourself before we get to her, you're not going to see her.
The best
Quit being
thing
dumb. Quit being
the best-
brash.
the best thing you can do for her right now is to rest and take it easy and get there conscious in one piece.
His legendary patience allows him to take in a deep breath and center himself. Julian, it remains your turn.
What's the average distance somebody can throw something?
Define something.
A glowing bottle?
You think that you could probably toss your glowing vial 50 or 60 feet. It's actually a pretty perfect object for that. It's just weighty enough that you could get some velocity on it. However, you know that throwing this thing in the dark might not go exactly where you want it. And as you rear back to throw, you realize how illuminating this will be as it flies through the air in an arc. In your hand, you consider the consequences. Should you throw, let me know how you plan on proceeding.
Because throwing's an action, right? So I wouldn't be able to deactivate the bottle and reactivate it.
You are asking if you could turn off the light spell, throw it, and then reinitiate the light spell.
Correct. While it's in the air and still within range for me to have the concoction still activate.
I think you can do it, but it's going to require a little bit of coordination and concentration. And should you not be able to pull these things off, many things could happen. You might illuminate it too early and make your position obvious. You might illuminate it too late and it's just out of range by the time you try to relight it. Why don't you make an intelligence saving throw to see if you can do this with the perfect timing. DC 13.
13.
You throw your vial through the air. Your eyes close. You turn it off. It goes dim. It flies in a ballistic arc, and you are throwing this toward the entrance, right? Toward the gate. Is that right?
Yes.
It flies through the air, dim as it goes, and just as it would be getting close to exiting the necessary range for you to relight it, you do so. It lights back up and lands near the gate, illuminating the entryway. You see nothing there, but you have a good sense that there of the topography and the way things are arranged near the front of the gate.
Okay.
Damn. Impressive.
That should help protect us here because they'll see the bright light and that should let us see them first. That's the
Quick
end of
thinking,
Julian's turn.
Rain with a 3.
Rain's been keeping an eye on Tilda this entire time. Ice runs through their veins as they draw a sword and go charging forth through the brush. And this is a little kid. They find themselves difficult to put a foot in front of the other at first, but inaction's just going to get them killed. They draw their sensor, they let it slack, but don't light it just yet and chase after them.
You do so. You see the naive, overconfident Matilda Lochlauren scramble up this culvert directly into what you can only assume is danger. You follow her. It remains your turn. You have a bit more movement than she did because you have no layered in tow. You are not adopting a conservative approach to your movement, it sounds like.
No, not at all at this point. Rain does hunker down in the same culvert. It seems like everybody's at least trying to take cover, but issues forth a seething whisper to Tilda. Did your brother let you have that? Who let you? Ooh, harsh words, harsh words. Keep it together. It's fine. Do you know how to use that thing? And I end my turn.
I'll turn back. Go. What?
At the top of the order, Sporgle with a 21. Sporgle, you see whatever is happening in there seems rather vicious. There is another scream. This one is gurgling and toneless, full of fear. It's your turn.
Okay. I want to try and clamber through these treetops and get closer.
You do so. You can get to 10 feet away or so. It's not hard for you to navigate this. You would have to spend your whole turn if you wanted to get to like the far east side here.
Yeah, because I was going to basically dash, correct, yeah, so...
Yes. You could feel free to place yourself anywhere in this copse of trees. You scramble through the trees using your dash action. No roll required. These trees are very climbable.
Okay. Sporgle has done stuff like this quite frequently, so yeah. Right here. Am I able to discern anything else within the courtyard after having moved closer?
There is some type of very round figure. It's large, 10 by 10, you wager. It is crouched over a supine figure lying prostrate in the gravel. Prostrate? Thanks. Thank you for your facial expressions. Lying prostrate in the gravel. You have a decent shot by your wager, Sporgle.
All right. Well, if I'm set up for a shot on my next turn, then that's what we'll do. He will remain here.
Noe with an 18. In your dream, everybody knows you got the wrong gift. You give in to the compulsions of your unconscious mind and tear apart the gift in your hands. Wrapping paper goes everywhere. Everyone is looking at you. On the prime, your left ear bleeds onto the moss just outside the window of your childhood room. Tilda with a 15.
I will stay with my head like prairie dogging above this culvert and try and trace right below it. So, I can see above it, but I can duck down pretty easily. I'd like to take a bit of a penalty as I go because this is an unnatural action.
I concur.
So that's probably as far as I can go with a walk. Can I see anything more clearly from here?
Julienne's vial is illuminating the entryway to the gate to your friend's house. You don't see anything there. And in fact, you have a very clear vantage point here. You can see almost all the way to the fountain that you've made fun of Noe for having many times. You know that when she misbehaves at home, her father makes her get the leaves out of it.
I am going to take a dash action. I'm running with scissors. And I'd like to try and make it across the road. I'm going to make a break for it.
You make a break
Scrambling
for
up
it.
this bank. Yeah.
You do so. You shove your weight through the power of your legs, bursting with power as you charge across the road in a full sprint.
Are these true cobblestones?
This is loose gravel.
Loose gravel. Oh, I'm sure I make a ruckus going across.
You do. Sporgle, you observe that Tilda is not only making quite the ruckus, but also, if there is a rider in the sky, they are now illuminated by Julian's beacon.
Spoiler kind of rolls his eyes.
My intent is to press my back against what looks like the moorings of the outside of an Iron Rock gate.
That is exactly right. That is exactly what that is. You press your back up against this thing, reducing the volume of your silhouette as you stand up against the wall. There are 10 feet of stone behind you. You hear gurgles and screams. It's one person. You hear a loud chuffing sound.
I think I'll pass my turn.
You do so. Laird with a 7. Laird looks like he wishes he could elbow one of you, but his arm just twitches unnaturally. Get me up there, please. I implore you.
I'm moving as fast as I can, but I don't want to throw you off balance.
Laird ends his turn. It flows into you, Kaysen with a 6.
Ooh, we can't move very far. Literally just right there.
You could, should you choose to, you could run a bit faster with Laird in tow, but you realize he might get a little bit bounced around. His body feels fragile when you hold him. You realize what little flesh is behind his skin.
I will go slightly faster, but not much more. And just move one extra square. I think that's my turn, unless I probably can't see much better from here because it's a pretty interrupted line of sight. And I have no ranged weapon. That's turn.
Julianne with a 5.
Julian will head down the hill and move to the right of Laird. Using the dash action, she will proceed further and get into the tree line.
You do so. You get a good look from here, hiding under the branches of the trees in the shade. You see that there's nothing at the front gate.
So from this angle, since it's in a wrought iron fence, am I able to peer further into the, I guess,
The courtyard. I apologize for the way that I described this. The gate itself that is currently open is wrought iron. The everything else is stone. So it's a 10-foot tall stone wall. I apologize.
Okay, no worries. No worries. In that case, I will end my turn here.
You do so. Rain.
Just 1 foot after the other at this point. Rain's going to try to cut off Tilda at the path. Just at this corner piece where the gate connect, he's going to put his back up against the wall there too, fully expecting her to run right around him. He's not going to try to make any less sound over this gravel path. Can't move the token. There we go.
When Rain gets close to me, I'm going to beam a broad smile at him.
Rain is fuming. Yep, just right into the mouth of fire. Go right ahead, be my guest. Rain will gesticulate in this somewhat circumspect bow as to go right ahead. And it is turn.
Oh, okay.
Sporgle up in the trees.
All right, so, could I do like a perception check to at least see how many actors are in the courtyard? Get a head count.
No check necessary. You've had a little bit of time in the trees here studying, scouting as one does. You see 2 actors, one large, certainly an animal of some kind. It looks like it's feeding on something humanoid that is now being pressed into the ground.
Sportle doesn't want to be the first person to make that thing angry, so he's just kind of surveying right now.
Direction is it facing? Or what is its back to?
Its back is to Chateau Saint Cyr. It is facing westward.
I'm sorry, which way is it facing towards me?
Yes, it is. Westward, correct.
Okay, gotcha. Sportle's gonna hold. He doesn't want to be the first one to make a move. Let's say, could I, what do you call it? Hold action? If somebody else attacks the monstrosity, I can take a shot at it?
Yes, you can hold your
Okay.
action. You
Excellent.
you prepare for if someone is going to make a move or if this monstrosity makes a move, you are prepared to deploy your action.
Excellent. That is what I'll do then.
No way. Consciousness floods your senses. Let's start over. Consciousness floods your senses. You awaken with a sense of familiarity. Your head hurts. You have no idea where you are, but you know where you're not. You're not in the Lonesome Tankard anymore. You awaken with your back on cobblestones. Looking up, you see the brick of your house. One moment. You find yourself nestled up against the stone wall that surrounds the inner courtyard of your house. The first thing you notice is that all the lights are off within. There is not a torch lit in your home. It's your turn.
Do I hear the munching if she goes quiet and continues listening, taking full faculty of whatever senses are available to her? Does she become aware of?
You focus in on your sensory apparatuses, Noe. First, you can only hear your heart pounding between your temples, and then you focus for a moment and you do hear something close. It sounds like something being cut into ribbons. It sounds wet. It's very close to your west, just around the wall.
And then looking down at her body, does she have any obvious wounds?
No
I
obvious
think-
wounds.
Sort of struggling to get control over her limbs again, she'll crawl, like turn over, start scrabbling to sort of peek around the corner of the stone towards what sounds like the sounds that result from somebody slicing up her father's steak for him.
You do so. And you see something. As you peek your head around the corner, you see a massive creature ripping something apart. You see a beaked creature, massive, larger than a bear, and it's using its beak to rend the flesh of what used to be vital parts of someone into wet little ribbons. The owlbear is ripping and tearing at the figure's throat, and it stops for only a moment to take a crossbow out of the hand of the figure and snap it in half. It resumes eating whatever it can.
Is this creature familiar to Noe? Has she seen it before in her life?
No.
I think she takes this in, still worried about Tilda's birthday party, and sort of turns back to hide behind the wall, slumping down against it, now looking at her front door. Is it closed?
It's closed. You get back out of line of sight. Whatever this creature is, it didn't see you.
Does she think she can get to the front door without attracting its attention?
That would be directly in its line of sight. It's currently facing away from you, but you can see the quick movements in its head look avian, in the same way that it would be difficult for you to sneak past a bird, a cassowary, something like that, with its head moving quickly like a dinosaur.
Okay, well, Josa sneaks out at night all the time. They must have left one of these windows open. I think that she'll try going around the side of the house to see if she can reverse engineer her siblings' ways of escaping.
You do so. There are 4 windows on the first floor, 3 on the second. You try the window closest to you. This leads to the entryway. It's locked. Peering within, you see only darkness. There are the stairs leading upstairs to where your bedroom is, where your father and mother's room is, where your brother's room is. But you don't see anyone in there. All the candles, every sconce seems darkened.
All right, so her parents haven't made it home yet. Neither has Josa. So I think she can only continue with the rest of her turn along the wall, trying to keep quiet, still searching for a way into her house, which is the last known place where she's left her own weapons.
You do so, spending the rest of your turn moving slowly along the wall and approaching the second window. Tilda?
I will grasp Ren's arm, breathe in and out a few times heavily, and go around the corner.
You do so, walking past the vial on the ground.
I'm going to skirt the length of this wall. And as I get to a vantage point, I'm not sure how tall this thing is.
10 feet.
10 feet. It's all 10 feet. I will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm done moving. I'm not going to dash.
You hear little chitters and squeaks. You hear the sound of a large creature huffing and puffing. You hear the sound of chewing.
I will merely wait here, quietly crouched. I am holding my action if I see something that's big and scary, or if somebody else does something against something that's big and scary, I will assist.
You do so, using your movement and holding your action. Laird. Laird moves against you, Kaysen. Come on, please. Sylvan, I have so much faith in you right now. I have placed my trust in you. Please, take me. It becomes
Can
your
you stand
turn.
going a little faster? Try to go my full movement. I think that's turn for me.
Julian.
When the owlbear stands up for that brief moment, are we able to see it above the fence line or no?
It sounds like you were looking for it, Julian, and you just saw a glimmer of something. It looked like the shoulder of a massive creature. A giant, a bugbear, a titan. Two carrion crawlers standing one on each other's back. A hydra, a Goliath. Your mind races with possibilities.
Okay. She will rush up to next to the glowing vial. This little span of wall right here to her right, is that part of the fence line, or is that more of like a knee-high wall or something like that?
This is still 10 feet high. This is part of a conduit. It leads you within and sort of shapes traffic on the way in. So you're forced to walk through the main entryway.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, she'll pick up the vial and she'll deactivate it.
You do so. It dims in your hand.
Served its purpose. We don't need it right now. Julian will dash one more time and get to the end of this wall. And I don't think... Does Julian have any way of peering around to try and get an eye on this thing?
Yes. Your precious head.
Well, hold off for a moment, and I'll pass the turn.
You do so. Rain.
Hearing this cacophony of flesh being rent from where it's supposed to be, I think Rain at this point is more concerned with what's being rent. Seeing that Julian and Tilda so far are not willing to look around the corner, Rain will do just that.
When you move around the corner, you see an owlbear. Its beaked face looks at you, and in a moment it charges at you.
Oh,
Do you react? If so, how?
he would audibly gasp. I don't think that's exactly what he was expecting.
You audibly gasp. You see blood rushing from the beak of this owlbear. There are tatters of flesh that it is still chewing as it charges down on you. It stops just in front of you, dust billowing in the air. A bluff charge, you hope. You see that there are 2 bolts sticking out from its back. It remains your turn. It is cowering over you. It rears up
Rain initially white knuckles the chain of the sensor that's laying limp to his side. His eyes wince and he rears back, fully prepared for this to be the end of him. Given moment, and peers out and sees these arrows sticking out of this thing. Oh, okay. Whoa there, bud. We're all right. Everything's okay. Everything's just as he holds the sensor up to his lips and puffs. Okay. He casts Healing Word on the owlbear as a sign of I'm friendly.
You cast Healing Word using your bonus action.
Yes.
Roll to heal.
For 6 points of healing. A fine green dust. It's hard to tell in the dark light, but it coats the front of this thing. It's not luminescent.
This fine verdant mist moves through the air and outlines the silhouette of the owlbear for a moment as you offer it a bit of your healing presence. It rears up, its paws relax for a little bit. It lowers down in front of you, Rain, as you heal it. It shrinks and reforms, gaining a fleshy tone to its limbs as feathers are swallowed up to form patches of hair that connect over ruddy, muscled flesh. Ed is standing before you, wincing with a crossbow bolt sticking out of his right trapezius muscle. He looks directly at you, breathing heavily.
As the remainder of my action economy, Rain will exhale deeply and clasp him on the shoulder. I cannot explain to you how happy I am to see you. And he'll end his turn.
Where's Laird?
If he
Can I
has
hear
any...
the rest of it?
Go ahead.
Or can I have the rest of the back hear that?
I don't think so. I think you're 50 feet away around the corner. I think you hear sounds, but it is unclear. Rain with a little bit of action left should you choose to reply.
He'll just motion over his shoulder quickly, like a snap of the neck.
Ed follows your gaze. At the top of the order, Sporgle.
So, honest to God, I believe that as he charged towards Rain,
You would have taken your action?
yeah,
Your
like,
held
but like I think as he shrunk down back into a human, the shot would have like completely missed, right? So he like shrinks down, and Sporgle's arrow just goes over him, and Sporgle's like, he goes, "Sorry."
No way. An errant arrow lands harmlessly in the grass near your front door. We find ourselves off the initiative order. Laird jostles against you, Kaysen. No way, where did that arrow come from? Sporgle,
Well-
what can you see from up there?
He's a bunch of biggies talking.
Rain, over Ed's shoulder, you can see an eviscerated body sinking into the gravel.
I think with all of the amount of adrenaline coursing through Rain's body at this point, he's not really willing to ask who that is. He just assumes at this point that that's another elf marching on the St. Cyr Manor.
Ed,
Is Sporgle like
Go ahead.
perched on the fence?
Sporgle jumps from the tree to the fence. Yes.
I would like to clumsily try and sheath my sword into my sash. You know, when you like, what the fuck? Put it in.
You have trouble finding the channel in the hilt, but you get it after a moment.
I'm going to call out, "No way!"
As Julianne walks around the corner, does she spot the mangled remains of Elias?
You do. Ed steps directly in front of you. Julian, I need your help. Take this bolt out of my shoulder, please. Please.
First, you're going to tell me what you did to Elias.
I killed him
Why?
because he was here to kill Noe.
Can I do an insight check on that?
You can.
$15.
What exactly are you trying to determine?
Whether or not there is any, I guess, alliteration or shake in his voice when he says that Elias was trying to kill Noe. Like, it feels lying, or if he's kind of stretching the truth. And also, I guess, suppose if Julian can kind of draw back on a little bit of her knowledge about Elias and their frequent conversations, would even the thought of him harming Noe even come up?
You process the following things. 1. Does it seem like he's telling the truth? That's hard to determine. On the other hand, you can piece the following things together. His voice has not a measure of wavering to it. He delivers this very confidently. Either he's telling the truth or he's very accustomed to lying about this. 2. Based on your extensive experience with Lieutenant Elias Kitt, or what's left of him, killing Noe St. Cyr, why? Makes very little. What would be the rationale? What could he possibly hope to get out of something like that? And not only that, but he's had the chance to do so for years, you assume. If he was going to kill her, why not poison? Why not poison in her water? His hand finds the crossbow bolt. He leans forward. If you're not going to help me, I'm going to rip this out and then...
How about you shut your mouth for a second and give me a moment to think? I already had to deal with you enough. I'll give you the benefit of this doubt, and she will immediately start taking the bolt out.
You do so. Make a medicine check.
$11.
You rip it out, and a bit of Ed's trapezius flesh comes with it. Oh, yeah.
I didn't say I'd be gentle.
He headbutts you. His head finds yours. You sense that maybe he's not trying to kill you, but his anger has bubbled over. You take no damage, but he shoves you away. There's a bloody crossbow bolt in your hand right now. Blood is rushing down his back. Laird looks over. Ed, no, not now. Please, where's my daughter?
No way.
I think Noe is breathing really heavily. She's still trying to get a hold of her senses. But there's something that sounds a little bit like her friend's voice calling, just enough to sort of make her stop trying to scrabble up the side of her house, turn, and at least notice that it's a lot quieter now, that she's not hearing the sounds of battle. And so I think still in this half delirious dream state, she sort of calls back over the wall, Tilda?
Break into a trot and try and triangulate this voice. No way.
Tilda, if it's really not you, you have to tell me.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Say something only Tilda would know.
No way. That's so boring.
It's you.
Kaysen, you hear Laird mumble something. Helianos, Misty Step. And suddenly he reappears on the stairs to his house.
This motherfucker.
He lands on his back and looks over at you, Noe. He extends his arm. I've never been so happy to see you. When's the last time you saw him use his arm?
Father. I think she's turned, like, just about to embrace Tilda, but her father's reappearance suddenly makes her snap to sharper attention, and she leans down next to him to help shakily guide him upright again.
You do so, holding him upright. He is shaky as well. Julienne, Ed is glowering at you, begging you to do something. He lowers his shoulder.
Yes. After the startling temper tantrum, she will pull out some bandages and put some pressure on the wound and start wrapping them up.
Well, she does that. Ed, before I forget, I have something of yours. I should give it back to you before I forget or we lose the opportunity. You probably left this behind because of me. I moved it out of the way, thinking that you might have been about to do something you were going to regret, but it turns out you have more restraint than any of the rest of us in the room, so you probably left that behind because of me. I shouldn't have touched it. I'm sorry. I trust you. I won't do it again. And I give him back the ritual dagger.
His eyes are on yours the entire time you're talking to him. You watch Julienne work his wound with bandages as he sees you extend the dagger toward him. He takes it from you. How did you hand it to him? Was it as you indicated, handle first?
Yeah, handle first.
You sense that he respects that. He takes the dagger from you and with one motion moves it back to his hip. For a little elf, you've got some smarts about you, don't you?
Only every once in a while.
I need the two of you to help me with something.
Will do.
Will do?
Do you just agree to things without hearing them out? Do you just do things? Ed, sit still. As she continues to wrap the bandages around his wound.
We have to hide the body. And you, Julienne.
From who?
He's got a pack. In his pack there's paperwork. In that paperwork there's death certificates. Julienne, I need you to sign one for me.
Elaborate. Now, hear me, Ed. Hear me, Ed. If this comes off, if I am being very, very skeptical of this whole situation right now, and I am giving you more benefit of the doubt than I have ever allowed at anybody in my entire life, at least in this moment. If you are steering me wrong in this situation, I will have the entire Flaming Fist kill you.
What, if any, legitimate reason, why would he have come here? Why would he have been en route here with an attack going on?
I don't
Would
know.
he have
He was in a
been
he was a
seeking shelter
bear.
here? Why would
Do
he have come
bears
here?
think?
No, Elias.
Oh, Elias? I have no idea.
Why would he have come all the way up here?
The Flaming Fist have been looking for a reason to take your friend's wealth. He gestures toward the St. Cyr Manor. The entire time he's been stationed here. Oh, are you almost done bandaging me yet?
Are you almost
There,
done spouting loads of shit?
I can see why you would say that, and there are things that I can't tell you. It's better off that you don't know. I'm saving you from the possibility of interrogation. The Flaming Fist is going to be here, but they won't be at your back, Julianne. They are going to come here and look for their missing marshal. What do you think this guy's role was in that? What do you think he would say when the Fist came here? The Fist will come here with soldiers looking for the marshal. They'll be looking for someone to blame. That's why we hide the body.
Throughout all this,
Blame it on these alleged elves swarming the area?
That's exactly right.
Zabik, is it not? This entire time, Rain has been staring into the fountain, trying to calm himself down.
The water burbles right back at you, Rain.
He uprights himself, startled somewhat from what I assume to be Sporgle now splashing in that same very well.
Drinking from the fountain, yes.
Zabik, we leave him on the road. Why hide the body? Show them first and foremost. They rode in on a griffin. You tore it apart well enough.
You've convinced me.
Now inside, there are important things to discuss, and we have a cave to get to.
You're half right, Rain. First part,
Sure.
going inside, I don't think so. I think me and Laird have business here to attend to. The second part, going to the cave, yes, and please take his progeny with you. He cares about No Way being safe. You need to get her out of here. If the elves are coming or the Flaming Fist are coming, they're going to come right here. Me and Laird have one final bit of business to attend to.
After that, are you both staying at the manor, or are you catching up with us later?
I'll send someone, my son, his son, someone to find you. The elves aren't here to burn the town down. To be honest, I'm more worried about the Fist.
Yeah. I'm more worried about the Fist as well. There's still work to be done, so. She's going to walk over to Elias and sift through his packs and any documentation that he had.
You find the same pack you saw him taking your writ out of at the Lonesome Tankard. There are a number of papers in here, everything required to administrate this small town. Requisition forms, and yes, death certificates. There are a number of papers here that with a bit of forgery, you could do any number of things. You see the filing numbers and you know exactly how this works. Fill it out correctly, send it off to Athkatla, and maybe you can get what you want. Such is the way of living under the bureaucracy of the Flaming Fist. You wonder if Elias Kit would agree. There is little left to make him recognizable as a human. His throat is completely ripped open. His face has been desecrated. The blood mixes with the red of his armor.
You're an asshole, Elias, but you don't deserve to go out like this. She's gonna just cover him up with what she can, and then just salvage any documents and anything of import.
Anything else in his belongings that you check? Armor, weapon? There's a broken crossbow on the ground beside him.
Those stay with the warrior. She's not one. It's not of import to her.
You do so. Ed approaches Laird and without any introduction scoops him up. Laird looks to him. I'm running a little bit low on spells. Unfortunately, so am I. Ed looks between the two of you and says, I'll take him inside. Laird, there's something more we have to do tonight. You know we're going to need it.
What are you going to be doing?
I know. I need more. Get our progeny away from here. Rebecca will help us. If you're going to the cave, no way, stay there tonight. You'll be safer than here. I don't want to tell you anything that you don't need to know. Just get away from here. The elves won't kill you if they find you.
I think her expression sort of darkens at that, but she also doesn't question him further. She notes that Rebecca, her mother, will likely be with them, and then says, what about Joseph? Did you find him when you went south?
Oh, he's with Ed's kid.
Rick, okay.
That's right. Him and Rick are up north of the dock as far as I know. Safer than here.
And you'll come find us tomorrow.
Ed looks over at you. I'll send the kids. Rick and Yosan will come see you. Do you need them to bring you anything?
I don't think so. Thank you, she says to Ed.
I'll raise an eyebrow at that.
For what? For saving you? That debt will be paid someday, will it not, Arsinoe St. Cyr?
She nods, not able quite to reach his gaze.
Ed is staring at you. It is difficult to meet his gaze. There is blood on his forehead. He brushes the hair away from his face. You have somewhere to go, and I have somewhere to go. Come on, Laird. One more time. That's it.
I think she sort of shares a look with Tilda. And then puts her hand on her friend's shoulder. We should go.
I'll shuffle down the stairs with you.
Sporgle, you look anticipatory.
Sporgle is rummaging over Elias Kitt's body.
You find shredded, studded leather armor, but nonetheless, it seems to be rather enchanted, magical. You find an enchanted mace. You find a coin purse. You find quality leather boots. You find an orange cape. You find a tabard with a orange fist on a red field.
If you don't put that back down, right now, I'm not going to tell you what happens. Put it back down.
Sporgle nudges him with his foot. He goes, "Dub."
Doesn't matter. Possessions of the dead are still their possessions.
Sporgle puts it back down, and now he's incredibly confused. He assumes you got to the body first, so technically you have claim on it. So he just walks away.
Julianne will just let out another deep sigh as she continues to try and clean up Elias a little bit.
you do so, doing your best to tend to the body. You know, it's 8 o'clock. May we take a fiver here, or a tenner, or something like that? Let's take a little break and reconvene.
Sounds good.
We have a little cray baby, so he's gonna come out for a little.
Good old Sammy. Salmon it
Good
up.
old Willoughby.
Wonder if there's a Willoughby in this game.
I can summon a familiar.
I love that.
Willoughby is supposed to be at the lab. But in this case, she may have to summon Willoughby just to keep an eye on those two.
POV, your seeds.
Or a blueberry.
Is that what does Sam eat? What the heck do birds eat?
So he gets a mix of pellets and seeds. So the seeds have a mix of like dried mango, fruits, some other vegetables, like sunflower seeds and other different seeds. And then his pellets are specially formulated for birds. So it's mostly just like vegetables and stuff like that. And then he'll also get a bowl of like chopped veggies, and they'll have like some blueberries in it, or blackberries, or anything like that.
Sammy.
Now this goofball, before I left to go to Friendsgiving, got a giant bowl of salad and blueberries. And he only ate the blueberries.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Yeah. He has a bit of a sweet tooth. Sweet beak. But yeah, he was starting to scream and yell and cry in the cage, so he wanted to come out.
How often do you let him free roam, if at all?
A lot. He's usually out 2 to 4 hours a day.
Okay, no, that's a fair amount.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not doing anything important, usually I just leave the cage open and he'll come and go as he wants. But if I'm like working on my computer or playing a game or something like that, a lot of times I won't let him out because he loves to sit on the keyboard and shove his head under my hand because he wants scritchies or something, or attention.
I forget, does he talk?
He does. Quite a bit. Too much.
Oh, great.
He's a bat now.
He's something. But yeah, he talks a lot. He says his name a lot. He says, what you doing? What's that? I've heard him say good night a few times and good morning, which is kind of cute, but he's kind of learning those now. And I think he knows bath time as well now.
How old is he?
He's a little over 2. He was hatched on June 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And I got him when he was 6 months old.
Cute. All right, I'm back and ready to get roasted for my bad decisions.
But that's the fun of it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Don't trust that he's not up to shenanigans. I just trust him to not knife any of us. I'm like looking at my skills, which I don't even remember all of these. I totally forgot. Why do I have a +3 to intimidation? Is it my background?
Charisma.
Charisma.
Oh,
Yes, your charisma
yes,
modifier
it
is a +3.
Yes, it is.
Jula, something funny.
I have returned.
Yeah, somebody's telling me that I fucked my character sheet up for a game that I'm playing tomorrow.
Well,
You guys have character sheets?
You guys have games?
You got games in that tablet? You got games in that spell book?
Welcome back. You find yourselves regaining party control once again. You hear cicadas. You see Laird and Ed enter the dark manor of Chateau Saint Cyr. No way, you see your father making eye contact as Laird carries him inside. You hear them shut the door and latch it closed.
yet again I find myself at the precipice of Manor St. Cyr, and yet again I'm not allowed inside. How quaint.
Oh,
I think this is the best time that we can to explain why I'm here and what's going on, at least from my end. I think if we go to the cave now, we could be harried by griffins, or owlbears, or the fists, or 50,000 mounted elves. So, I would love for the rest of you, for my own sanity, if you would, line up and just give me a big beaming smile. Show me your teeth. Just trust me on this one.
No.
Did that?
Then you may leave.
Did that elf survive?
Erlen, yes, he's above a griffin and probably ahead, looking to pounce down on us at any time. So, yes, I would love to give this rousing speech.
2 years. Oh, anyway.
I don't think you're a vampire. No, I'm looking for vampires. Truly, there's vampires here in this wonderful little city of yours. They are here and doing bad things. Bad things, truly. Outside of that, though, if you would believe me, a little quaint. Oh, apothecary traveling from town to town, managed to raise one from the dead. Did you know that you can do that? I didn't, not certainly until a few months ago, until that happened. This happens, he points directly at the prosthetic in his head. I did that. I brought something dead back to undead. It was no longer dead, or it was dead. The terminology is a little bit mixed here, truly. Yes, and the thing that I used to do that is from here, from this, as he reaches down and pulls a tuft of the lawn up. This grass, your soil.
I'm gonna lean into Noe and say, when he gets like this, you can't stop him. Just nod. It's easier.
So Sporgle pulls on Rain's pant leg
Hmm.
and points at his mouth. He goes, Sporgle tooth.
Yes, I didn't think you were the vampire. He reaches up to his face to rub his brow and finds that he still has that tuft of lawn as he smears it across.
Reindeer, slow down.
Okay.
Julian will hand you just a cloth to wipe your brow.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's
what? Here I was thinking Erlen was a tiefling.
you lot live here, truly. No way. You still have blood right on your cheeks.
Oh,
He'll hold the now lawn trodden kerchief to you. If you there's flowers. Eggshell. They look like eggs. Straight out of a hen. Have you seen something along those lines?
The chrysanthemums?
It's like an orchid.
Like,
Orchid adjacent, I suppose. But I'm familiar.
Yes, I think that's the thing that can bring unlife to unlife again. Does that track? Do you realize the gravity of something that can keep something undead, still undead? From a mortal, unmortal, God. It's difficult, but it's powerful, and this is what is so problematic. I've been sent here to get those things, and a lot of fertilizer, presumably to do something of burning. And that's not really here nor there, but that is why I think these 50,000 fucking elves are here.
No, I'm sorry. Who sent you?
Not the water?
You're... When someone was looking for me and their name was Dez, I did throw that off as though it was supposed to be a bit more surreptitious. But then yes, a man on a griffin appeared. So yes, I'm looking for him. He is my proprietor, the one that's so rich, the one that gave me... Well, I took it from him, truly. Your ink, Tilda, your gift. He's rich. He's powerful.
I wasn't going to rub it in anyone's faces about the army or the griffin because people were getting hurt. But at this point, I will say, I told you so, all of you. I was right. And I'm going to shut the hell up now before I put my own foot in my mouth. But I was not lying.
Okay. It's hard to understand what you do and don't tell the truth with, especially how spastic you've been in the hours we've known you.
Oh, agreed.
At the very least, I don't even barely... Caden. I've patched this one up. I trust them all the same. One of the... Rain has, at this point, maneuvered himself closer to Kaysen. What is your name?
Kaysen. And
Kaysen.
I actually remembered where I knew you from, but...
I would hope so. You were rather roughed up.
I mean, if you remember someone with half their face melted off, that was probably me.
I actually thought you were referring to me for a minute.
Mm.
That's a bit more personally than I'd like to admit, but yes, I trust that this one is fine. I don't think all rumors are true. What time is it?
What time is it? She looks straight up at the sky.
You see the moon. You are having trouble placing exactly what time it must be. Your head is still throbbing, Arsinoe. You imagine that it is sometime past midnight, but you're having a bit of trouble placing it. You wonder what your father could be doing. And where is your older brother? And where is his...
She puts her hand on Tilda's shoulder and she says, "Happy birthday. We didn't have your party yet, right?"
Of course you would remember Noise. Thanks so much. I don't need... It's okay. I don't need a party this year. I'm just happy you remembered.
She blushes at that. No, I mean, everything is getting a little sideways, isn't it? But I'm sure whatever Ed and my father are doing will keep us safe. And in the meantime, we need to keep everyone's spirits up against the elves, the fist. She sort of looks with confusion over towards the heap of viscera that was Elias' kit, and the vampires.
Oh, they're real. Pointy teeth and all. I think Erilyn was one of them.
Why do you think... Okay, well, maybe we should get to the cave.
I think that's prudent. And I'm sorry, Tilda. I think I got your birthday off by a day, didn't I? Here's the thing. Let's all calm ourselves down. And how about we have a cave birthday party? Does that sound good?
It does.
We drag along everyone that's willing to go. We find ourselves in a little cave. Maybe a little pastry if we can snag one. We throw you the best birthday party you've seen.
Oh, you don't have to do that, but if you know conjure food and water, like strawberry is my favorite.
I hate to tell you this, Tilda. I was your tutor, yes, and parlor tricks of that kind were in my family. However, I have admittedly moved to a different branch, if you will. I can show you other tricks. This one, perhaps, as he pulls his hand behind your ear. You hear a little bit of a rustling as he produces a flower. It's not an
Oh.
orchid, but he hands it to you.
I'll clutch the flower and smile and say, Rain, I'm not 12 anymore. But as I say that, I'll put it into my hair.
You shouldn't keep so many seeds behind your ears, dude. So let's move. I think your father is fine with Ed. He can turn into an owlbear. Turns out I think he's perfectly fine.
I think I'm more afraid of Ed than the elves. Why isn't your father coming with us?
Yes, that
If
is a
it's
good
safer
question.
there, in the
They-
cave.
How would we get him there?
Well, they have to do something. They do this sometimes. They go off, and it's always of grave importance. And my father always says it's best that I don't know.
Just to be
Ah.
clear, you have seen your father in direct sunlight in the last month or so, right?
How dare you?
I'm just crossing my T's. He seemed
Yes.
fine.
You can trust my father.
I know
if
I can.
there's nobody else in this village, you can trust him.
He loves you, you know.
I know.
Has Julian seen Laird in daylight in her frequent treatments?
Make an intelligence check.
Eight. Seems like a minor detail to she wouldn't pay attention to.
I would agree. I think that you search your brain and you cannot imagine a single time you've seen Laird in the sunlight, but you know that certainly he would never be near the fields, right? That's an Ed thing. Laird is legendarily pale and emaciated, and certainly you can't imagine he spends much time in the sun regardless. You've always heard that he has a bit of celestial blood in his bloodline, and this accounts for his amazingly pale complexion.
Personally, I would chalk it up to all the negligent spellcasting, but yes, what are they talking about inside? Julian's going to scout the front of the building, and are there any like open windows or anything like that?
Gonna try to eavesdrop.
There are closed windows. Looking inside, you see stairs leading up and stairs leading down. All of the sconces and candles are not lit. The window itself feels rather secure.
Okay. Well, she can only see the front of the building, so she'll take a vial from the side of her pouch. This one is kind of ornate compared to the other ones, and it's got a little feather on the front in a silver embroidery. As she pops the lid, or the cork of the potion, she says, Willoughby, dear, would you come help me out for a moment? In a spiral of green and white smoke, a bird familiar appears in front of her.
One moment.
What?
Immersion.
That's crazy.
Now, Willoughby was supposed to be watching the lab, as he usually does, and I think he can assist us out for us tonight.
A bird is suddenly studying you. It's a common rock pigeon. It has a gray body and an iridescent neck that catches the glimmers of the moon above you, Julianne. It coos and tilts its head at you, puffing up. You know this bird, it's yours. You can use this bird to send a message to someone, or perhaps send it back to your workshop.
This might have been what I saw in the woods. Possibly.
Perhaps.
That
Oh,
Matilda is a familiar.
I'll take out my notebook and start scrawling what I think were the invocation words to summon the familiar.
Sporgle pulls on Rain's pant leg again.
Mm-hmm.
Sporgle reaches into his bag and pulls out a handful of what are very obviously human teeth, and he says, "This is Sporgle's other teeth."
Oh, I didn't need that today either. Thank you, Sparkle. Thank you. Yes, they're very, very nice teeth. How does the cave sound, everyone?
Does no one
Sounds
remember
wonderful.
where the caves are?
Yes, you do. Looking at this map, Miss St. Cyr, you know that the back entrance to the inner courtyard of your home has two curved staircases that lead to a small pastoral backyard that overlooks the Starwater River. There is an embankment that leads downward, and there is a small watermill there and a little jackboat that is attached to a rope that you can use to get across the river. The spring is a short walk from the other side of the river. You could lead these people there, even in the dark. It's not much of a problem for you. Although, the significance of this spring seems lost on you.
She turns to Tilda and says, Ed said that my brother is with yours, and they'll be sent with us in the morning.
My brother's at home with my mother.
He's at the docks.
Your brother is everywhere, it seems.
I saw him.
Ed's brother. Not Tilda's brother. Sorry, Ed's son.
Rick. Sorry, he's with
Exactly.
Rick. Okay.
Yes.
I think this is canon in the sense that Noe thinks about this for a little bit and sort of like shakes her head and says, "Sorry, my thoughts aren't very clear right now. I meant Rick is with Joe, and we'll see the both of them in the morning. Your brother is safe though, Tilda?
My brother's not sick, I think.
Safe.
Safe. Oh, he's safe. Yeah.
Okay. I think
I'm
we should
sorry.
just go. Yes.
I'm sorry I couldn't heal you for more earlier. I don't really have a proper healing spell. Just lay on hands, but try to do what I could.
I think she looks at Kaysen with an air of abject confusion, but she's still doing the polite smile that she had been towards Rain his entire speech. And eventually something clicks and she goes, "Wait, that was you."
Yeah, all of the other times in the last 15 years when, I'd fallen down a cliff or scratched myself or something, I never bothered to try to cast it because, Lathander's been quiet for a little while and I didn't think it would work. And then I saw you go down and I don't know, I've never, it was like my body moved before my fear could take over me, and I held out my hands, and it worked.
I have to say, it was pretty heroic.
It was.
Hoping the first of many experiences of my faith coming back, I guess. But sorry I couldn't do more, but also thank you for being the catalyst for that. I feel alive for the first time in decades.
I think she sort of reaches out and takes Kaysen's hand, like one of his hands in between hers, and says, "I don't know whether to say thank you or I'm sorry, but you did exactly what was needed in that moment. I think it's hard to explain exactly, but if you hadn't, I don't think I could have come back as quickly or as entirely as I did. It was sort of a wayfinding light, I think."
Yeah, you, I think both of us were a little bit foolhardy for the last hour, but you were at least inspiring.
She drops his hands at that and sort of smiles a little bit like, no one's called me foolhardy before. But yes, Julianne, do you need help with the body? Is that handled?
Turn around and look at the body. It's not there.
What was that? You? Not you?
I didn't move him. I merely covered him up.
To be clear, just to cut in, I removed the token, but the body, you covered the body. It is Elias's kid's body is there, sort of in the gravel, bleeding into. Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about the token. Okay, my mistake. I should have left it there. But yes, the body is still there in the gravel. Not as far as you know.
Actually, my heart skipped. I thought it was the vampires again. We think, maybe, it was a griffin. Griffin did it. Leave it in the road. And drag him out. I didn't even know him.
Well, there's still a suspicious amount of blood on the courtyard. Unless someone knows like a water spell to clean it.
It'll wash out. I have a lot to process at the moment, so
I think we
I'm
all
going to
do.
do one thing at a time. Willoughby, can you please be a dear and find a way into this mansion and listen in on those two?
You ask Willoughby to spy on Laird and Ed. The rock pigeon turns its head, coos, and then flies upward, finding purchase on one of the corners of Chateau Saint Cyr. You hear it clattering around on the clay roof tiles as it seems to be looking for some way in.
Okay, so while he handles that, for the body, I don't know what I want to do about it yet. However it's handled will have repercussions in many different ways, so I'd at least like a moment to kind of think out the parallels, if that's okay.
I don't think we have many moments left.
There's always plenty of moments, dear. You're the one that just always thinks there aren't.
Yes, and I'm still alive, thankfully, because I'm always on the move while you're sitting in your fucking little laboratory all year round. Isn't it fun?
It's
Ooh.
wonderful. I highly recommend it.
Okay, well, we're deeply appreciative of the both of you. I suppose I only mean to ask. I don't think we need to decide what to do with the body, just where to put it. I'm asking, would you like me to help you bring it with us to the caves? Or do you think it's better to leave it here undisturbed? I don't know the lieutenant's beliefs. How?
Neither do I. We're strictly mostly a business association, I suppose. I tried to talk to him, but... well...
I could put it in the larder, I suppose?
No, you can bring him with us to the cave, and we can spin any kind of story about it, whether we rescued him from the griffin attack and brought him into the cave for safety, or he was mauled by an owlbear of foreign name. Who knows?
Why are we covering for Ed?
We're not.
Strictly speaking, I do believe that Ed was the one that whisked Noe's unconscious body away. I think covering for him is more than repayment.
That is why I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt at the moment. Noe's not dead. Elias is. Elias being dead does benefit me in a little factor. However, he is still dead, which also kind of causes some pain. So there's many things to think. Somebody pick up his body, please, and be a love and just carry it with us to the cave. We'll figure it out from there.
I'm not sleeping next to Ophel. I don't know about the rest of you, but that is a mangled corpse.
Yes, and what is your problem?
You want to lay your head to rest next to a festering body.
You do
That is
realize
what
the
you
cave
look
has
forward
plenty
to.
of space, and you can put it on the other side of the cave.
Happy birthday, Tilda. We got you a body. Do
Yes, this is what you've always wanted, right? You have plenty of time to study it. Anatomy, yes, that was coming up in your course load.
you have something to say, Julian? Truly. You look jealous.
I have plenty to say, Rain. So much to say, but again, just allow me time to think. But we do need to get him out of the courtyard in some capacity. That
I
I
agree.
wholeheartedly agree with.
How about we just dump him down a ditch?
Before
You
Noe...
do-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, before Noe moves across the courtyard, is her front door locked? Did they lock it after they went in?
They did. In fact, you heard him slide the deadbolt across.
I think Noe takes off her little cape and uses it to wrap up the body that she's gonna use to help her transport it.
Could we fashion a sled somehow without taking too much time?
He doesn't seem to mind handling it, just kind of bridle carrying this pile of. She does sort of frown at the blood stain in the gravel, though, and say, "Is this something?" And she looks between Rain and Tilda. Maybe prestidigitation, some sort of water magic could.
We have
Oh.
yet again misunderstood my abilities. Truly, we could use the well water. Yeah.
I'm gonna shake my head and turn to Kason and say, "Doesn't the Morning Lord have funeral rites? We shouldn't leave him like this."
Um,
You know the
So-
prayer? Something about the dawn?
More of a, not even quite a paladin training. I lost my way enough years ago that I have, my memory's not great at the best of times. I've forgotten most of what my mentor tried to impress on me. I'm sure he would be very disappointed.
Kason.
I never said I was I never said I was good at being a paladin.
Alright, well, let's do what we can, okay?
I'll try.
I mean,
I'll try.
he's... I hear Lathander's forgiving. I imagine trying something would be better than nothing. I mean, we can't just leave him like this. This has to be a blasphemy or something.
Well, you can think about it on the way to the cave.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything rushed. I will take some time and see if anything comes back to me.
And if you wish to do it in privacy, that's fine as well.
Multiple approaches here. Should you wish to attempt some type of ceremony, a religion check may be in order. And to your previous question about having some form of like way of transporting it, using the cloak, you could maybe have a unwieldy stretcher. Although the thought of carrying this defiled, eviscerated, squelching, bloody body is deeply concerning to your sense of propriety.
I don't think Noe has any qualms about using the cloak to sort of scoop him up. In her mind, he was one of the people of Evening Star, and it does not disgust her to handle him, even in this vulnerable state that he's in now.
I'll kneel down and try and help Noe do the wrist work of cleaning up the body, and I would like to make a constitution check to see if I can keep my dinner.
Do it.
I don't think I can handle it. I walk up to help, and I verbally retch in your ear as I kneel down to help.
Hilda!
I'll walk.
Don't push yourself.
I'll walk over to the fountain and lean over it.
Oh, not into the fountain water, please.
Oh, your stupid fountain.
her stupid fountain. As you lean over it, you think about what's necessary to drive this. Certainly some method of enchantment. This is what Laird and his family use their riches and power on, a burbling fountain. Is it a create water spell, a control water spell, some foreign enchantment? The possibilities rise through you as you lean over the water in the darkness, Tilda.
I'll take out my book light and shine it around the interior rim. See if there's a source.
You do so. The source seems to be around the rim of the fountain. Around the outside edges, water is flowing in from some unknown source.
I'll put my hand on it with the effort of trying to plug it and seeing if there's significant pushback to see the nature of the flow.
There is. As you attempt to stop it, you feel the pressure move to the other apertures for the water to exit. Must be some type of centralized system that's providing pressure to this.
I'll fiddle around with it for a moment.
You do so, attempting to discern its design. The water is certainly coming from somewhere underground, but the specifics of the mechanics of this are beyond your mechanical understanding, Tilda.
How cold is the water?
Chilly. Rather chilly. You imagine it's a bit like the Star Water.
I would like to try and ponder if this draws from an aquifer underground since it's so cold. I'll postulate.
I'm with you. You ponder, postulate, you pontificate, you talk to yourself as you try to work through the specifics of how this thing must work. You understand, after spending a few minutes attempting to identify the source, that if it's not, it must be one of two things. Either an underground aquifer, the same one that drives the well here, or it must be something magical.
Oh boy, do I want it to be magical.
Hope springs eternal, doesn't it, Tilda?
In many ways. How could I determine if this is magical, saying this out loud?
The sound of cicadas is around you as you talk.
The act of doing this hopefully calms my stomach down for long enough distracted by this complete triviality.
You remember many times your mother yelling at you for throwing up. She always thought you did it on purpose. You can imagine her words in your mouth as you try to center yourself, her words in your ears as you try to center yourself.
Suddenly remembering my mother and my brother. All right, I think we should go. I think it's enough.
All right, this way. We can go around the back.
Yep, I'll help you. I'll help you.
No, it's okay. Don't push yourself.
I will wrap the sash I'm using to hold the sword around my mouth and nose. I will hand the sword to Julian.
I will take the sword.
And I will attempt to help the gurney.
You do so.
You know, if you liked my father's work so much, I'm sure he'd be happy to teach you things here.
Come on, just carry the body. Stupid magical shot. What? Why do you have to show this thing off anyway? I don't understand.
Well, it's people's first impression of his work when they come to visit.
The first impression is that you would have a fountain in a farmer town. No way, you don't understand this place.
He puffs her cheeks out, like, why are we even fighting?
As the two of them are bickering in front of them, and Rain finds himself somewhat calmed now that things are moving again, and Julian is lockstep to his side. He leans over to her. Don't give that back to her. Just. I want that. I don't want to lose that. He points ahead to the two of them, bickering, and gesturing to Tilda's father's sword in Julian's hand.
No, I agree. They're far too young. They have a lot of potential. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think us overseeing this is going to be more of a pain in the ass than originally intended.
I think you're more right than you know. A thought occurs to me. Truly, he looks back over his shoulder to hearing Sporgle now just sprawling across the yard. Do you think they have birthday?
I mean, technically speaking, from a biological standpoint, yes, everything has a birthday in any kind of circumstance. Does he know when it is, or celebrate it, or do anything of a higher culture? You got me. I don't know.
As this conversation will intermix, Rain has dropped all aggression that he had pent up to this point, and will continue on bickering about the biological nature of goblins and whether or not they have birthdays on this travel.
Kaysen,
Sportle comes over and investigates the well.
Let me just finish this thought. Kaysen, you whisper into the darkness, where are we going? Wondering, I think people are getting rather split up here. Sporgle, you investigate the well. There is a small roof over a bucket, and the bucket can be lowered using a winch down into what you hope is clear, deep water below. Listening, you hear nothing inside of the well, and peering down, you think you can see a slight swaying of water down below.
Sportle looks around like he's seen people operate wells, but he's never got to do it himself. And he thinks he knows what to do. And he starts working the little winch thing.
The winch is for getting it out, not in, Sporgle. And the second you mess with it, there is a brake holding it in place. As soon as you perturb it, the bucket goes and falls down directly into the water with a splash. You winch it back up. You feel the water sloshing around as you pull it back to the surface. A bucket arrives back where it came. It's halfway full with clear water.
Sportle is just kind of very pleased with himself. And he lets it go again, and then he realizes that everyone's left, and he quits playing with it, and he tries to catch up.
You have a sense of accomplishment, though. You brought water from Toril. From deep within this well, you brought water, the stuff of life. You operated machinery that was unfamiliar to you. You were an effective scout. Things are really coming together for you. You're not quite so sure about all of these biggies.
Mm-hmm.
Tilda, sometimes you're just impossible. And then she turns to look back at Kaysen over her shoulder, and she says, the path to the caves is just down this way. We need to get down the hill. There's going to be a little boat that we can use to cross the river, and then the caves are just a short trek to the east.
I'll just kind of nod quietly, like the weight of all the bullshit that's come out of my mouth today is slowly sinking in.
Mid conversation with Rain, Julian will pull out the light vial and shake it to life once more to kind of make sure we can watch our steps around this.
You do so.
What are they passing by right now again? With this place with the 2 staircases?
This is the rear entrance to the inner courtyard. There are stairs leading upward, and there is a wrought iron gate that is currently open at the top of the stairs. It leads to the back entrance to your home. Down below you is a water wheel covered by a small roof. Here in this bend of the river, the water flows very quickly. You're entering the narrowest part of the Starwater. As you approach the entrance to the ravine, Kaysen, Noe, Tilda, you have a good view across the river to the southeast, and you see something. You see multiple squares of elven halberdiers walking toward the bridge. Their heads are bare, and they are looking at their surroundings, taking it all in. There must be 100 at least, approaching the river, moving as one. They have long, ornate pikes, and embedded in their squares are war bards with large leather drums affixed to the front of their belts. A mage in the central column loses the concentration on her haste and pauses, freezing in place, as she sees something. There are bodies on the bridge. There is nigh total silence as the elven battalion halts at the tangle that they see before them. Their torches burn in the night. And from their ranks, one person steps forward, not in armor, but a robe. He is tall, elven, and wearing a crown, but not one of royalty. It is ivy. He kneels to examine the bodies. The 3 of you roll history, DC 16. Elves have advantage.
$20.
That was a nat 20.
20 on die. That is Alcinerat of the West, a famous archdruid and spiritual leader from Myth Draenor.
You guys are gonna hear an audible fuck from Kaysen.
Thankfully, they're hundreds of yards away, but you're sure if you can see them, they can see you.
I'm gonna quickly motion for everyone to take cover if there's any chance we haven't been seen already. With an unusual look of seriousness on my face.
This trail is narrow and treacherous, but there are places for you to take cover. Blackberries are overgrown from the edges of the trail, and the rocky dirt leads directly down to the river. You think in the ravine, certainly you would break visual contact.
I feel we almost drop the body as we unevenly shuffle for cover.
You do. You hear the sound of blood dripping onto the dirt as you shift the body.
Wait, Kaysen, do you know who that is?
Yeah, he is basically the one who is driving all of this. He's the one that all of the elves of the West are following. The one.
Oh,
who
I'm sorry,
thinks that-
Alcinerat is here. Across the river.
Unless I am hallucinating, because I thought I saw a psionic earlier, but maybe that was true. Unless I'm terribly hallucinating, yes, I think that is him across the river, and we really, really, really should not draw his attention.
Correct.
So what's the story with this one?
Oh, he's the one that taught all the elves that ride around on griffins that Corlon is the only one true elven god. Disputable, but they really believe it.
Which is odd because it's been proven time memorial that there's many.
Well, there's a bunch of them over there with spikes on sticks that seem to believe otherwise. So let's keep moving.
That would be why I had such beef with that commander back in the tavern, because he is one of them. The perfect sort of elf one who follows Corellin, everything that I'm not.
Yes, well, everybody's destined to find their own path in some capacity now, aren't we?
Now, why don't we save the ecclesiastical speech for the cave?
Oh, so we can echo?
So I'm sorry, where is the bridge? Is it on this map? I don't see. What am I looking? Is that a
I think it's
boat?
the north bridge where the guard tower was.
It's forgive me, it's the southeast main bridge on the high road. You were
All right.
you were seeing them approaching the southeast bridge, the same place that Julianne and Laird first met, and then backed up toward the Lonesome Tankard.
Okay, so it's off map.
That is exactly right. I typed it fast. TOTM means theater of the mind. The river below you is in its narrowest channel here. The water is moving fast in the darkness, and the sound of rushing water is all around you. The air is cold and humid here, and near the river, little droplets of water occasionally land on your exposed skin from the frothy flow. The star water has the strong smell of fresh water, and bits of wood and fallen autumn leaves are pulled through the current. Looking here at this watermill, it has a small roof to protect it from the weather, and the watermill itself is only perhaps 2 feet wide, but it gathers a bit of the power of the river and sends it via a long iron shaft to the basement of Chateau St. Cyr through a shaped channel in the rocks. A little jackboat is here, lashed to a rope, offering a way to bridge the river here where it is narrow and quick. You figure a couple people could use the boat at once, and it seems sturdy and well made. And I'm sorry, someone was about to say something.
Oh, Julianne, could you cover your light as we cross? If it's still on.
Ah, yes, of course.
We don't have like a fox, a goose, and some grain, do we?
Right?
Oh my god.
Julianne, how about you go with the two of them? First boat, Kason, Sporgle, me on the second.
I agree.
Very well. Don't have too much fun with Sporgle.
I'll ask him about the birthdays. Maybe I'm right.
Maybe. I'll hold a gold to that.
Deal.
I think as everyone is arranging to get on the boat, Noe is standing there still with Tilda holding the body, but as Sporgle also approaches, she sort of turns to him and says, trying not to get Tilda's attention, "Did you give your present to her yet?"
What present?
Birthday present. Can you let me go
Birthday.
first? Just let me go first, please.
Okay.
And she nods. And thus reassured of her position in the birthday present hierarchy, returns her attention to the boat problem.
I'm gonna lean over and start like rambling and explaining what a birthday is.
I will inspect the pipe that goes into the house and try to surmise if this is the thing feeding the fountain.
You surmise that this provides motive power to something. Certainly it could drive the pump of the fountain, couldn't it? It could do something like that.
It does. It does.
The minute the group separates to boat and shore, and as Kaysen is espousing what a birthday is, Rain kneels down to where Sporgle is and puts his hand on his shoulder. Sporgle, we're a bit tight now. We can admit you've watched our backs. We'll watch yours. You need to promise me something. Once we get to the cave, we're going to ask you a question. And I need you, no matter what, to just go with what I say. You wanted loot, yeah? I can promise you, if you agree with what I say about birthdays, there's loot in those little weird trousers of yours. Yes.
Lost.
Okay, so we're gonna play it back real quick. Sparkle, Julian and I have been wondering. I think you do have birthdays. She seems to believe that you don't. Do you have birthdays, little goblin?
Sporgle have birthday.
Yes, you do. He clasps your other shoulder with his other hand, and somewhat, it feels like a hand hug. You're too small for a real...
Yeah, Sporgle holds out his hands. Loot.
Loot, yes. He rummages through his pack to find any sort of potpourri and places it in your hand. It smells great.
Sporgle, it rolls off his hands into his bag, like, all right.
There's more where that came, little guy.
It is amusing traveling with you, Rain, and seeing where some of my unconscious habits came from. I think I know why I carry herbs everywhere. I got into a habit of throwing them into fires that I make. It covers up the smell of burning a little bit. It was just something I started doing years ago. I didn't remember why. Cheap enough to carry around.
Rain just puts a hand on your shoulder. It's rough. I know.
Let's get this boat going.
Yeah, listen to backhand.
I'd say about this time the boat is coming back.
Yes, this is easy to manage. You can 2 at a time ride the boat, no check required, by holding on to the rope. It's secure.
Sporgle is not looking forward to riding on a boat again.
Oh.
If only Steel Toe could see you now, Sporgle.
And away we go.
Tilda,
This one going, I think.
Tilda, your natural curiosity about all of these systems is getting the better of you. You are left wondering, why is this little boat necessary? How does this fit into Laird's machinations? This system is well made. It must be used often. Why? And for what purpose?
Do I think Laird could draw the rope to move this across?
Absolutely not. Unless he was using Mage Hand, telekinesis, or similar. But with his own 2 hands, you doubt it. When he reached out to touch Noe's cheek earlier, that's the only time you've seen him use his arm like that in quite some time. His ataxia has gotten worse. Things like that are heroic for him these days. Please go ahead.
I would like to do an intelligence check to see if I can remember my teachings of Mage Hand. And if it can draw, well, let's say 40 pounds, which is probably what it takes to do this.
No check required. No, it can't really pull that hard. Or if so, it'd have a hard time. It still has to brace on something, right? The hand could pull itself along, but for one end.
Can't be telekinesis. That's a high-level spell. Because every time he casts, he turns into a little bit more of a ghoul. I'm saying this out loud. So somebody else must be pulling this. I'll plop onto the other shore.
You do so.
No way.
Tilda.
Does your mother have strong hands?
she looks scandalized for a second,
No,
like,
no,
why are
actually,
you looking at my mom's hands? And then she says, well, she's a renowned swordswoman, so she's quite dexterous with them. Why?
Wait.
Don't just me.
What? What did I say? Why are you getting upset with me?
Why are you asking me such strange things about my mother?
Oh, I was just looking at this boat and wondering who pulls it. Do you pull it? Are you usually the one who pulls this boat?
You
So as Tilda brings this up, Noe's thinking back on the exact reason why she even knows that this cave is here and how to get there.
Your frame of reference for this cave is where pure water is from. Occasionally, if someone needs purer water than what the Star Water offers, say for an alchemical project, they may go to Mineral Springs. The spring water is a bit of a local delicacy, and the cave itself, which is a ancient limestone cave with a number of different lobes within, has been a clandestine location for a variety of youthful misinterests. You know that your father does certain things in here. He's always told you it's practice for spells for things like shaping rock. As far as you know, he has a small laboratory here that he occasionally uses just to get away from things or to work in seclusion, as he tends to do.
I think Noe is about to explain all of this, but then something makes her do a double take, and she sort of looks at Tilda with a look of not concern exactly, but there's some misunderstanding or some impression that Noe had that is now being corrected, and she sort of goes, "You've never been to this cave?"
You know, maybe the boys didn't like me as much as they liked you, okay?
Well, that's not my fault. I mean, that's not what I
Wow.
meant to say.
You know it's my birthday.
We're
You know,
going to
never mind.
kidnap-
Never
we're
mind.
going-
I don't want to hear about it.
What in the
Alright.
nine hells are you rambling about?
Nothing. The cave. My father uses the cave to test out certain spells because it's a magically pure area with little interference.
Yes, it is.
I'd like to think that the rest of us have gotten across the river, just catching the tail end of this conversation as Rain gets off of the boat in stunned, wide-eyed silence.
Something bothering you?
No, everything's fine.
Give me a bit of structure here. Tell me about Elias Kitt's body.
I left it.
You left it. It is
I
currently
left it.
It is currently lying in a bloody and foul heap on the bank of the river.
That's correct.
I don't think Noe and Julianne would have left it.
Is that correct, Julian?
No, I wouldn't have, but I was a bit distracted in going over first to make sure the children make it across safely.
Okay, maybe because Tilda came over by herself, the expectation was somehow that the body was supposed to occupy the second spot. So
that was what I thought too.
We can just grab the body.
Done.
Body grabbed.
All right, Sporkle, come on, hop in. I know we did not have a good time on the last boat, but look how short this river is. It's really short. It'll just be a couple seconds.
Sportle is like rocking the boat a little bit with his foot.
Your stomach isn't even gonna have time to get sick. Unless you sniff the body too much, don't do that.
Sportle begrudgingly gets on.
You feel the friendly gaze of Steel Toe. You think that mentally you've been upgraded to 35 pounds of recycled mining chain. One moment.
Okay.
You find yourself somewhere new.
How far away is this fucking cave?
Here?
What's Willoughby doing here?
Willoughby cannot be controlled, so to speak. He follows commands, but he kind of just does what he wants to do, as birds do.
Dark over here.
It is dark here. You're not sure exactly what time it is, but surely it's the middle of the night. You hear the water rushing through the river channel. There is a trail to follow here, but it's rather sparse. Used, but lightly so. Julianne, you hear a little friendly cooing sound from up ahead. Something familiar.
I take it as we round the bend, I would spot Willoughby sitting up there.
You would. You see Willoughby sitting on the edge of a rock. He looks like he's waiting to deliver you a message.
I will whistle at him to come yonder and entail the messages.
You do so. He lands on your outstretched hand and squawks at you. This squawk gives you the following information. He tells you, basement. And then, with a bit of a flourish, flies back to the rock and pleasingly pecks at something.
Something to do with the basement, and he is entranced by something, so let me check in on this real quick. I apologize.
No way, I'm assuming you've seen your own basement before. You know if there was anything odd down there.
Is there anything odd in Noah's basement?
Of course not. Just books, a study, storage, a wine cellar.
No, it's just the regular things people would have in their basement. We store food, out of season books, that sort of thing.
It's also where your father does some of his magical commissioning. If somebody wishes a spell to be cast on them, usually he takes them down into the basement, a secure location with arcane wards to protect what he's doing.
It's also the most highly worded place in our house. My father does most of his commission work down there as well. So I suppose if Ed needed something cast on him.
You did say something along the lines of just one more time? Maybe that's how he can do the whole, I'm an owlbear now, you know? Although that may be a different breed of magic.
Somehow I don't feel like that's what they're talking about.
Willoughby, what are you pecking at up there?
The bird looks over at you with its inscrutable beady little eyes.
How hard would it be to get up to where he is?
Not hard. You could scramble up there easily enough. It's barely 5 feet off the ground.
I will do so.
You do so. An out-of-character notification arrives for everybody. We're going a bit over tonight, but we started a little bit late, and I have a lot of content. So whenever anyone needs to go, you just call the ball, and we can cut the session short. Okay? Back in character. You scramble up, Julienne, to this little rock. You have a good vantage point of the forest from here. Deciduous trees as far as you can see. The forest is rather lush. The elves call this the Cormanther. The trees are dense. It's hard to see through them. Noe, you know that Mineral Springs is relatively close, a couple 100 feet to the northeast, down this little pastoral path. You've been through here before. It's always seems safe. You hear the sounds of cicadas in the trees. Occasionally an owl hoots breaking the silence.
Was there anything significant that Willoughby was pecking at?
No, not that you can tell. Perhaps a nervous gesture.
All right, Willoughby, if you don't mind being love, if you can just scout out a little bit and just keep an eye out.
I'd like to take out my book light. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't be. Willoughby tilts his head at you, Julienne, and for a moment there's a brief bit of bird recognition, and then he flies and takes to the air. You.
Before he goes, sorry.
Oh, sorry. You know you.
I'll just mention, before he goes, I will also mention there is an extra snack tonight if he does well.
Oh.
You reinforce your bird's behavior. You reward him with a promise of future treats. Tilda Lochwarren, you take your book light out. It provides little light, but more than anything else, it gives you comfort.
I'd like to slow a little bit and hold the light to the ground. I know this is a bit of a worn path. I'd like to see if I could determine if any fresh footprints were made along this path.
Roll investigation, DC 12.
I pass.
There is obvious evidence that someone has been through here. In addition to the small trail, there are occasional depressions in the ground, as if something was brought through here, something heavy. It's hard to tell much beyond that. Something was brought through here, perhaps cargo, from what you could tell.
I'll turn to Julienne. Somebody came through here with something heavy.
How so? Or like
I'll just gesture at the ground impatiently. It happened.
Julian will shake her light back on to get a better look at the alleged trail.
I'll put my hands up over it futilely in case there's a. My light is unidirectional. Yours is omnidirectional. I'm gonna like cover it from the griffin that I think is above us.
You do your best to occlude the glow from any griffin who would be above you. With a bit more light, you can see it looks like perhaps a wheelbarrow or a wagon was drawn through here. There's a deep single rut. Reminds you a bit of a cargo wagon, a carriage, something.
Maybe they're bringing barrels of water from the cave or the spring.
Or maybe we're not going to an abandoned cave. I'll start to catch up with the group.
The footsteps follow along the path. The wind chills you. You're getting closer to the massive cut in the trees where the stream moves through. No way, you see something. A wheelbarrow turned on its side.
I think she pauses to take a closer look at it. Is it emblazoned with any kind of mark?
Looks like something a gardener might use. Investigating it, though, you see something quite obvious. There's an extra pair of footprints that appear here. These footprints are very close together.
Oh, someone was carried here via the wheelbarrow.
Someone who can't walk well, maybe. I'll look at No Way with purpose.
Rain and Julienne, you see the same thing at the same time. Ah, an Arl's cap. A purple mushroom used in a number of potions that deal with frost and cold. Protection against cold potions.
It's a chilly night. Can't hurt. Rain will produce a very small paring knife and attempt to remove it from whatever it stems from, log or debris.
It's a bit of debris. Using your paring knife, you remove it instantly and with no issue.
Waste not, want not.
No, always useful. You never know.
Seeing that the group is at least crowded around some object in the, distance, Rain will try to catch back up.
Do you have the basics on you to at least do something with that?
Yes, no carriage. More than prepared.
Fair.
Provided maybe in the morning we stop by and pick up a few things from your place.
I was hoping we would go tonight, but it seems this cave adventure takes priority. I can always send Willoughby to grab a thing or two, but that's about it.
He doesn't even have hands.
He has feet. Birds can carry things with their feet. He watches the lab.
Fair. Well, maybe I'll teach Licorice a trick or two in future.
I've seen bats carry things. I'm sure he could pull it off just fine.
He's stubborn and kind of really, really dumb. I kind of doubt it.
Tried rewarding his good behavior?
I feed him every day and he keeps coming back. So yes,
Yes, but you negatively reinforced him just coming back.
I'm not a bat person. There's like a word for it. It's like smooth.
They
Yes.
bicker more than we do.
Do you think there's something going on between the two of them?
Yeah, I do.
Explains a lot.
Maybe we should leave them alone in the cave.
Good idea. The footprints that they've seen, which direction are they heading? Are they heading towards or away from the cave?
East.
Oh.
Toward the cave, and it is marshy here. With dread, you realize that the footprints are quite clear as you approach the cave. The wet ground allows footprints to be left quite clearly. They head east toward the entrance to the cave. Above you, the moon is watching you.
I think there might be somebody in the cave already.
There better not be.
Well, it's known to all the villagers.
There's also 6 of us, and maybe they had the same idea. Caves don't burn down. Also, no, I know it's late.
I beg to differ.
Were you just going to leave the wheelbarrow there?
As opposed to...
You carrying a sloshing heap of
Oh,
him?
Well, yes, sorry, of course. Actually, this would be easier, wouldn't it?
Rain will move to right the wheelbarrow.
You do so. It stands up easily. It's in good shape. You feel like you could push it easily, just maybe not through this marshy ground.
I'm starting to think this ground is kind of why they left it here.
It certainly could be, but also Noe wasn't conscious 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago. Time is really murky at the moment.
Yes.
So at the very least, someone else can carry it. Yes.
Well,
Would you be so obliged?
well, there's already footprints in the ground. We could just imprint in between the footprints and have a compression in the ground for this wheelbarrow. We can still take it.
It'll move. It rolls.
So,
Well,
Yes.
sorry, Tilda, you go ahead.
what are we afraid of? There's one person who can't walk, and they're going to be at the cave. It's either somebody who's injured or it's somebody who can't fend for themselves. I think we'll be fine. We should go.
I agree. All in then. Rain gestures towards Noe, towards the interior of the wheelbarrow.
I think the discussion rather is about where to leave the body, and I'm not sure if we want to bring it in the cave.
That's so
What
smart,
about
no
just
way.
outside?
What a better place. Here in a wooden box.
I got a prayer prepared for wherever we decide to put him.
Oh, you remembered.
I don't have a spell for it, but it's
Spell? No,
at least some words.
we don't need a spell. Yeah, let's bury him under a tree. Isn't that just nice?
That's where I would want to be. We're out in the open.
I know it's not ideal, Julian, but we can always come back.
Dig up a body once you put it into the ground? No, thank you. Bury him if you must. I will deal with the bureaucrats.
You knew him the most, and you had the most relation with the Flaming Fist, so we should trust your judgment on this, whatever you decide.
You act like this relationship was anything beyond business, dear.
Don't be cold, Julian.
I respect Elias as much as everybody else.
Is that an insult?
No, I just don't think you understand the headaches I'm gonna have to deal with. But yes,
So
bury
should
him
I-
under a tree? It'll be fine.
Should I be upset about your headache? He's dead.
They are quite painful, dear. So maybe.
Ugh. I'll shove past you.
I don't think anyone's really in the mood for shoveling a grave beneath a tree tonight, so perhaps the wheelbarrow for tonight, we cover it and come back in the morning. Sound good to everyone?
I'll look at Kazan for approval of this plan as far as sanctity goes.
It gives us time to think. If there's anything better we should do.
Take him into the tree line some. Keep him covered. Put him under the tree so he doesn't get damaged by the weather.
The tarp
If
shot.
need be, or bury him after.
Rain almost unceremoniously jostles the wheelbarrow in front of Noah.
She puts the body in.
He will take it a few tree lengths deep. Not far enough to lose it, but enough to cover it with foliage. And with some form of cloth on hand. Try to at least cover the top of it.
You do so.
Not the most sanctimonious burial, but it'll do. And he will produce himself back out from the tree line.
When
So
we
on,
lay-
let's go find a man who can't walk in a cave.
Oh, hold on. Rain,
Mm-mm.
we have
We're,
a paladin.
we're doing it now. We're doing it now. Go ahead, Ren.
It's nothing elaborate. It's just we should say something.
Bury him, not to bury him. Now we give him rights or no rights.
I will kneel down and not really minding the blood, I will place my hands directly over the body and say, Glorious morning, Lord, hear the prayer of your humble servant. Let your powerful light reach us even in this dark time and secluded place. Just as your glory shines from the sky, so too does it radiate from all those whose skin has been kissed by your light. Please watch over all those who have fallen tonight, shepherd them and guard them from evil. Please guard and purify the body of this fallen Lieutenant Elias Kitt. Please look upon him and shelter his soul and body as I lay my hands upon him. Imbue my hands with your protective, loving light, always in your service. Please guide us all this night. Glorious morning, Lord.
I'll bow my head as you do that, awkwardly, for lack of understanding of your ritual.
Best I could come up with.
I think it was perfect, Kason.
That was great, Kason. Thank you so much. You know, I think all those stories I heard about you were wrong.
Well, I wasn't trying to be secretive earlier. I just it sounds really morbid when I say it out loud, but I would rather everyone think of me as a monster than ruin everyone's dinner. Yes, I did get people killed in a cave. It wasn't murder, but I got them killed anyways. I was reckless. I was a terrible and inexperienced cave guide, and I took people on an expedition that I wasn't ready for, and it was doomed anyways. Caves do light on fire sometimes if they are entirely made of coal. If it was an old coal mine and someone flicked a cigarette into it. And unfortunately, I survived it. And the reason that I remember Rain is because he found me with my face half melted off after I'd been stumbling around for God knows how many days. But, yeah, I'm not too fond of caves, but, well, that's where we're going, isn't it?
Wow. That's a tough story.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of fire, or caves, but let's get going. Don't know how well I'll sleep, but I could keep watch.
I'll take a heavy sigh and look around. Gesturing at Kason.
But yes, I'm sure most of the rumors are probably true in some fashion or another. Misfortune follows me a lot.
I'll quietly and awkwardly walk behind you.
Well, it's not coal. It's limestone, and there's going to be water in it, as will the rest of us. So please don't think that you have to guard the cave and its inhabitants alone. Will help you.
It's a new thing having people to lean on, people that actually give a damn about. It's nice.
Yes, I know the Morning Lord often works in solitary, as he does, but you don't have to.
I'm just gonna let out a sigh of relief and step inside.
The cave entrance is low, 4 feet tall perhaps. The stream flows through the entrance, and there is obvious evidence that someone has been through here. 2 sets of footprints, 4 feet total. One person walking closely, big heavy boots, with close distance between the footprints. The other set seems like a far more normal gait. One moment. The air is damp and heavy here.
I'm very curious about the blue things.
You approach. It is a bioluminescent lichen, you think.
If I disturb it, does it still glow?
It does. It
I'm gonna
reminds
gather up so much.
you do so. It leaves bits of teal light on your fingers. It reminds you of crushing a lightning bug with your hands.
I'm gonna grab one of the very just patchy, old, many times used little sacks from my bag and just start shoveling it in there. I don't know what it is or what it's used for. I just want the light.
When I'm a bit more in the tutoring mood, just word of warning. If you don't know what it is and it grows on something, don't touch it.
I concur. Be very dangerous.
Pretty.
It is pretty.
Has Julianne been in this cave before?
Perhaps. You,
Imagine in her. Sorry, go ahead.
you certainly recognize the violet glow cap that is in front of you here. Perhaps you've stuck your head in here. This cave has always been rumored. These are just rumors, Julian. But it's been rumored to be full of ochre jellies, so people typically don't get too deep inside.
I think Noe calls out down the cave. Hello?
You do so. You call hello down the cave. It echoes. You hear hello, hello, hello. No response other than the babbling of the stream.
That's odd.
No way, that was a little bold.
It's certainly one way to suss out if someone's here. No response, though.
Mm-hmm. Julianne's gonna lean down and take some samples of water and gather a couple little things here and there as she does so.
Yeah, I haven't drank water since I got here. Does this stuff look safe to drink to me?
To you,
Can
it
we make a
does.
nature check?
To you, it looks safe.
I'm gonna crouch down and I'm gonna pull a sporgle. I'm just gonna drink it directly from the spring. Like I'm so thirsty. I have not drank anything since I was on that barge.
Mmm.
It sates your thirst. It tastes wonderful. Cool, clear. No lingering taste in your mouth. Nothing like that.
Well, you're definitely going to be on watch tonight. Not the kind you want.
Generally need to boil this first.
You both just
Kate-
shit on him.
Cason's a doorknob licker. He has an immune system of steel.
I'm gonna gather.
He's spent his entire life eating bugs and just weird shit he found on the ground. Ooh, what is this little thing in the corner right here? Little purple thing. So many purple things.
There are a number of glow caps, violet glow caps, in this room, providing a little bit of ambient light. You see a single bedroll. You see a desk. On the desk is a helmet.
What's the helmet shaped like?
And what color?
It's red.
Okay, not Erlen's was green. Don't ask how I remember that.
Did Elias have his helmet when we grabbed his body?
His portrait was unhelmed.
You have not seen him wear a helmet yet tonight. When you saw him earlier at the Lonesome Tankard, he didn't have a helmet on then either. Sizing up this chair and desk, Noe, something about this says your father's been here.
Can she pick up the helmet and maybe do an Arcana check to see if anything has been laid upon it enchantment wise?
Certainly. Roll Arcana.
That's a nat 20.
With a nat 20, you discern. Well, hold on. Hold that thought. You look into this helmet, Noe. You size it up, holding it in front of you. You start off attempting to discern if there is some type of magical effect, an enchantment on the helmet itself, and you quickly discern that there is. This is the helmet of a Flaming Fist Marshal. It enhances the perception of the wearer. You see that it has a design that would be used by someone very sure of themselves. You wouldn't hide with this helmet. It has a flared top. It has a metal feather at the apex of it. This is the type of feather you would wear if you wanted to be seen. You also know something about helmets like these. They can be tracked, traced. The owner may be seeking this. Is what you get with your natural 20.
May I also go investigate it?
Kaysen, you can investigate anything you want.
19.
What is your angle with your 19 on die?
If there's anything about this that is familiar to me, if I've seen this style of helmet anywhere, or if anything about the shape is familiar, Kaysen growing up has always paid a lot of attention to like bands of soldiers going by or priests or paladins. He's always been fascinated by marches or people parading by, so he's paid a lot of attention to various armors over the years, but mostly through the eyes of a kid or a teenager.
You access a distant memory. Kaysen, you've seen helmets just like this being worn by high-ranking Flaming Fist officers. This is not a lieutenant kit. This is someone far above him. You've seen these on the heads of people who had an entire entourage with them, people on important missions. You think maybe one time, long ago, at a place that you can't quite locate in your memory, have you seen someone with this exact helmet on, riding by themselves on the road? Who could that be and why? Is what you get with your 19 on die.
Interesting.
As you size this place up, you realize it seems safe enough. This is probably where Laird stays and does his experiments in the cave. You see bits of char on some of the cave walls, as if someone's been experimenting here, perhaps. The desk is mostly threadbare, other than the helmet. Whoever's been through here perhaps covers their tracks, or Laird doesn't want anyone coming in contact with his things.
I think as Noe's inspecting the helmet, she'll say out loud, in summary, everything she's sort of been able to determine. And then say, I wonder if my father was trying to use this to track our missing taxman, perhaps?
It
Wait,
doesn't particularly track that it would belong to him, does it?
I guess not. It's just the only Flaming Fist I can think of besides our lieutenant who would be of interest to my father.
Didn't.
Well, I think your father being let's say, the biggest position of power, and well, the Flaming Fists weren't always here. Maybe he held a grudge.
Wasn't Elias Lieutenant Kit's superior officer missing? I'll gesture at the helmet.
Yes, but that wouldn't be his helmet.
Why?
Because this helmet is far, far above that of a lieutenant.
So, whose helmet is it?
It doesn't like have a name tag on the inside, does it? Yeah,
Noe
so-
checks, and she's like, I don't know if I just can't read here till you check it.
I'll check it.
No.
It's worth a shot. In either case, we have no one to ask and many questions to ponder, and I'm a little spent, all things considered. There's one bedroll between us, and I don't think any of us are traveled for the road. If I may, Noe, I think you should take it tonight. You've taken the worst of today. And a watch is in order, Kason. It's one way in and out. Someone just keep track. There's probably at least 2 more bodies, living or dead, somewhere deeper in this cave. But if I know anything, tomorrow we're going to need sleep. It's already so late.
And food before we get to sleep. Could
Oh, you have some.
Could cobble together something for a birthday. I don't have anything fancy as far as food, but we could try to put a couple little. I would say we could try to put a couple lights up, but there's already a bunch of lights in here.
Everyone, it's okay. I appreciate it. It's been a hard, long day.
Yeah,
We'll celebrate when things are okay.
I don't really have a gift, obviously, because I didn't know you before tonight, and I didn't know that there would be a birthday going on, but I have this sort of half-remembered spell in my head. Oh, someone tried to teach it to me years ago, and I think I've forgotten half the words, but I feel like it's more the spirit of it that counts. So I feel like maybe if everyone could help me sort of cobble together something, maybe it will work. It's a version of ceremony. It's for a coming of age celebration. Only turn 18 once. It's a spell that can only be cast one time for that purpose. But it requires supposedly, I think it was 25 gold points worth of silver dust, which I obviously don't have. I don't know. Maybe we could do some kind of stone soup thing. Throw some stuff in a pile, see what happens.
I think in some cases, magic understands it's the thought that counts, right?
Oh, maybe it counts. Maybe it counts sentimental value of things. I don't know.
Magic counts doubly with this girl.
And if my assumption is true, if we stand right now where Leyline has found itself, who knows? And really, what's the worst that could happen, Tilda? We all say some magic words and nothing happens?
I think
Might as
something will
well try.
happen.
I hope so.
Might as well try. I will kneel down on the ground and lay out just a little purple scrap of fabric from my bag, and I will put my little knife that no longer works there, and then I will also produce just like a couple little shinies and things from my bag, and I will give a quick warning to everyone that anything that goes in the little center will be consumed by the spell. But, well, that's if it works.
Ceremony has a 1 hour cast time, so it takes a little bit to get it together and prepare. As in, there are other activities that we could do concurrently. People can, perhaps when they're sorting their bags, maybe they will find things that they wish to contribute to the ceremony. But it sounds like, dare I say, are you long resting here in this location?
I believe that's the case, or the intention.
And you were set. Go ahead. You were going to say, Julian?
I think Julian would stay up a little bit and be curious at the marshal's helmet sitting on the table, and probably spend time in cast and set up her Albix to identify, learn as much as he can, and trace back whatever this tracer magic is. And she would also probably gather a lot of the mushrooms and other things, and also test the water as she sets up on this table. It's a perfect table to kind of use. Should not.
I'm taking notes on people's intentions for their sort of rest activity here. But first, a watch order. Anyone going to be on watch? Kason, are you? Do you agree to this, or was this just suggested to you?
I'll take first watch.
Okay.
I'll take a watch.
Okay, that's 2 watches, meaning 4 hours each. You will both suffer from mildly impacted rest.
Borgo will also take a watch.
Okay.
We can cut an extra 2 hours into that for elves sleep 4, so
Okay.
I'll be up for at least 4 of those.
Okay, so we have 4 people on watch then. Is that correct? And on the front end of that, Julianne is going to be up as well. So it sounds like the person who's going to be sleeping is Noe. And it sounds like everyone else is going to be in some capacity, either on watch or preparing to be on watch.
And before everybody does lay their heads to rest, Rain would definitely like to, one, impose upon Tilda maybe the ink. Toss a drop or 2 in. It's expensive.
I will ceremoniously take out this vial, and with as much flourish as an awkward girl can muster, dribble a little ink in what appears to be some summoning circle, as she may have seen. Slowly glancing for your approval 1 or 2 times.
He'll nod a little bit more as you drop 1 or 2 drops in for the third. That should be good. And 2 is he would very much like to make sure that Noe is not concussed to the point that she wouldn't wake up. That is a problem with those that have received brain injury.
You spend some time. No medicine check necessary. You have ample time here in this quiet cave to inspect her. You have her do some basic neurological sign activities. You discern that she has taken a blow to the head, but does not seem to be at risk of not waking up would she fall asleep. Although certainly you can imagine her headache must be splitting.
For my very first prescription, just sleep as best you can.
I think she smiles at that and she says, my constitution's much better now than it used to be.
It is. He gives you a wry smile. Sort of like a proud parent that isn't really your parent.
Yeah. And, are you taking the watch after Tilda?
I am.
Will you give this to her? And she sort of discreetly takes out a small wrapped parcel and gives it to him. Just make sure she opens it before she opens portals.
I don't know what that means, but absolutely. He'll take it and pocket it into his breast where licorice was.
Can I ask you something? I know we don't really have time to get into everything, but the vampires that you're so concerned about, why are they so dangerous?
Sweetheart, anything that lives that long is dangerous. Anything that can live forever is even more dangerous.
Is it just an envy of mortality then?
I met someone recently. They have so much conviction. Someone like that doesn't just happen in a normal mortal person's lifespan. A little bit of me's a little fucking worried. What happens when that conviction can't die?
She lowers her voice even more and she says, "So you're not Dez's ally."
I am. I can't help it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
And I'll be sure to give this to Tilda in the morning.
Thank you. Good night.
Sleep well.
You put your head down. The party gains individually 1,500 experience, making you level 3.
I'm like frantically trying to cobble together the words for a ceremony spell. Google's offering no suggestions.
If I may offer a suggestion, I wanted to do some of the character building in character here, but it's just past 10 o'clock. I think now would probably be a good time to stick a pin in it, and then maybe we can do some half in character, half across the table planning for characters in the interim weeks here. Does that sound okay? Can we pause it here?
Sounds good.
Okay.
When are we planning the next session?
Excellent question. So some scheduling. I think that if we do something next week, so like 1 week from today, it may be either a truncated session because I'm not going to have all my tools. I'm going to be traveling. Or we cancel for the next week. I think it's more likely that we cancel for the next week. And I'll tell you why, because like recording software being set up, there's a few moving parts that make it a little bit difficult to capture the session and stuff like that. So if we do something, it'll probably be low key, like maybe a fully cross the table session for character planning. But I'm gonna do some work on mine and just see what shakes out. And then we're
Sounds good.
definitely playing 2 weeks from today if everybody can make it. If you can make it 2 weeks from today, that's our next formal moving forward, pushing the plot session.
My calendar is clear as far as I know.
Likewise.
Okay. You're all my favorite role players in this whole universe. So thank you. Go ahead.
2 weeks out. That's the weekend. Is that the weekend
23rd.
of Thanksgiving week, or is that the week before?
That is before Thanksgiving week. So the 23rd would be the next week. That is the week before Thanksgiving.
That's good.
You thought you were going to give us a camp scene, but it was all camp scene the whole time.
It's true. Well, trust me, I'm perfectly satisfied.
I had a blast.
Same. Lots of excellent character development and banter and moving the plot in appreciative ways. So I'm going to go. Say again. All right.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all. I'm going to go eat, and then I will be around if anyone wants to tap me for D&D stuff. But thank you for the session. See you soon. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I promise it's on my trauma. Hi.
Hi. Here,
Hi.
should I turn this back on? I really am going to go eat, though. I have not eaten since 10 a.m. So
Of course.
I'm fucking starving, and Brie got me food, so I'm gonna go eat, and then I'll meet you on our server if you want, or are you going to sleep soon? How you feeling? Hi.
I am still awake. I'm probably gonna just take a shower, get the makeup off, and I don't know, try to scrounge up something that doesn't taste like roasted red pepper sauce.
Sounds reasonable. You look amazing, by the way. I think your makeup turned out really well today. I like the way that it's like blended into your face. Like sometimes it's like very like sharp, but today it looks like it's blended very, very well.
I used a lot of the green stuff rather than the black eyeshadow. I used a lot less of that, and I had my camp outfit on,
I know,
which this ended up being very cute, very fitting.
I thought you looked so like cute and practical today. It's like it reminds me of
Mhm.
like this is like a weird comparison, but like freedom fighter kind of thing or whatever. It
Mm,
just looks
mhm,
very
mhm.
like militant or like definitely like in the wilderness kind of thing. I thought it was very cute. I thought it really was very suitable for the session.
It
Oh,
looks
you
very
know
Z
what?
Nation to me.